Hey guys, thanks for coming back to another fun, tasty Tuesday, I hope. And let me get my invite ready for Malt. Will be joining me here shortly, so let's get that out to him. Hopefully, you guys have been having a great week. Just did a really early review. First one I actually think I've seen. Didn't see any on Distiller, didn't see any on YouTube, didn't see any anywhere. So on the May the 1st, I thought, well, hell, I'll drop a Ardbeg Scourge Committee release review. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely please feel free to do a search on that. And went through a bunch of notes with that and sat back, talked a lot about a lot of different bottles. We did some Aaron. We talked about, man, we were all over the place. Everything from Springbank to Glen Kinchy to Deanston. You think of it, we probably talked about it. And we usually do on our shows. We do focus on the bottle as we go, but you know how it goes. Sometimes you get off on fun tangents and maybe even learn something new about distillery or something that you weren't, already aware of. So happens to me on a halfway daily basis as it is. So there you go. Let me copy this and send it on its way. And see you guys popped in. Hey, Daniel and Peter was first. I appreciate it. Donna, good to see you, man. Evening, yep. Eric will be here in a second. Nice to see you, Tamika and Cohen from California, I believe. Are you in I think you're in San Diego, if my memory serves me well. I guess I'm not losing it after all. Actually, it's straight out of Louisville for me. Hometown. I don't live in Louisville anymore, but I miss it. And good to see Christopher David, which I think is a fellow Marylander. Where are you from, Christopher David? Are you the same Christopher David that I used to work with previously? I don't know if we've crossed paths before. I think I saw that you were also in Maryland. So just out of curiosity, I don't know if I'm in Severna Park, which is a little bit north of Annapolis. So I'm not sure how close you are there, but let me know. Cheers, Laphroaig. Yep. Telex, Laphroaig is incomplete without you. That's I like the sound of that. And you're in India, I believe. And welcome, big time. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. I know the virus is not doing so well over in India, so hopefully you're able to make it through this. Hopefully, if you have access to a shot, I hope that works out extremely fast for you. Either way, please stay safe. I'm waiting on my next one next week sometime, so hopefully be through the craziness. Good to see you, Jean. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce your last name. Sorry, but I don't want to butcher it. So I'm just going to call you Mr. Jean. I'm probably even messing that up, sadly. Do something besides content. Yeah, no, no, I'm definitely straight out of Louisville. Hi, Telex. I just bought all that Cairdeas at this distillery 2 years ago. Long gone now. Which I had another. Well, believe it or not, I just saw someone. I forgot. Well, I don't want to say because last time I saw that they supposedly had it, it was the 2015 version. They had a picture of the 2014 version of this California place um, in San Diego. I'm trying to remember the name, but they had it was labeled as 2014, but I sincerely doubt that that's going to be it. My house is in Pennsylvania, but my property extends to Maryland. I grew up in Catonsville, though. That's cool, man. Well, nice to meet you. Hopefully, we can have after I get my second shot. Hopefully, we can have an eyeball sometime and have a dram. That would be cool if you're up for it. And speaking for up for it, Mr. Eric, I got him really fast that time.
You did, man. You always come quick. What's up?
No, I was just chatting with one of the watchers. He was with me when we just did the scorch on the first. And Christopher David is a fellow Marylander.
David. What's up, buddy? How are you? Happy Tasty Tuesday.
Yeah, he's in Pennsylvania, sort of next to you. And but he lives, I guess, around the state line area.
Got it.
Yeah, hopefully, try to stay positive, man. Hopefully you're doing well. I was just telling Ma here, I hope he gets a shot or access to one soon.
Yeah.
Gets something. I know it's a pain to deal with, but I'm really glad you guys take the time to come and visit us while we have a lot of fun talking about our favorite subject next to work.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on about work forever, Telex. You know what I'm
I hear
saying? Yeah, and yeah, I was saying that too, man. Stay safe, you and your family, and friends, extended folks. Keep it safe, man. You'll get through this shit, man. We love you.
So what was you doing over at the happy hour? I meant to do a sneak drive by. Sadly, I didn't have time earlier too. But
yeah, well, as you can see, I've reversed my camera, and that's because most of my stuff is now gone. It is on its way to Chicago, where I will be in 10 days. Got a little makeshift malt studio set up here, bro, and we were chatting Glen Alecky 10-year-old batch 5.
Nice.
We did some of that, and I did a signatory sample of a signatory Ardmore 10-year-old. You familiar with any Ardmore?
I'm familiar with them, and it's funny that you mentioned them because today I was trying to scour a distillery bottle. I've been trying to find like an old one. They have like the Legacy was like their NAS they had out for a while, and they had a 10, 12, and a 20-year-old.
Yeah,
I've been having a hell of a time trying to find that 20-year. They had a 20-year-old, but I can't find it anywhere. But yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of good independent bottlings from them too. I never tried one though. I never had.
Yeah, this was really impressive. This was sent over by Andrew Page, and yeah, it was good. I don't remember. We haven't done the Loch Lomond show yet, but it reminded me a little bit. I mean, this was actually matured in Isla bourbon barrels, so it had a peat smoke and a peaty element to it, spice. But it had this very unique earthy root vegetable kind of pumpkin thing, which reminded me a lot of Loch Lomond. But I quite enjoyed it with the peat smoke. It was good.
That's cool. When you said that they used the Isla peat, did it have like a Kalila kind of feel to it, or was
yeah? It said it was a ex-Isla bourbon cask, and so it reminded me immediately more of like a Laphroaig or a Kalila. And from there, it got more and more Kalila-like as it went on. Let's put it that way.
I was going to say, was it more medicinal iodine hospital, or was it more like the vegetal earthy peat?
Well, it was a little bit of both. I mean, you got a bit of the maritime, a bit of the veggie, a bit of that hospital note, and then also just like that sweet citrus, that kind of sweet, like tropical fruit citrus thing, which is something that I personally get a lot off Kalilas. And so there was definitely some of that going on. Yeah, all in all, it was quite good. 56.9%, so it was a heavy hitter, and
nice.
Quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that I'll find one of these distillery bottles from Ardmore at some point. I'm going to be kind of watching for one. I'll definitely let you know if one pops up, because it'd be cool to do a show and even doing it. And maybe since you already did one recently, maybe I'll try to find a twofer if I can. If I can't find 2 distillery ones, I might have to throw like an independent kind of on the side or something. But we'll make it work out. But I'm glad you liked the distillery at least.
This is, anecdotally, I never had anything from Ardmore before, so this was my first taste of theirs, and I mean, obviously, quite a good one given it's a cast strength independent bottling that seemed to pull its own weight. So, not sure what to expect out of other releases from them, but yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
Who was the independent baller again?
Signatory.
Yeah, they always do a pretty good job. It seems like for if you're looking for an independent bottler, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I'm just pulling up my little list on the side here. Is I have a feeling that you're going to talk about something that you might have gotten recently, or have you picked up anything recently that caught your eye?
I have. I can't show them to you because they're in a box somewhere, probably traversing the hills and valleys of Pennsylvania. I have picked up a couple things. I got a Highland Park cast strength 13-year-old. It's a Gordon MacPhail release.
Nice.
Quite good. I also got a Balvenie Tune Batch 5.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a big one.
Yeah. Which I'm very, very excited about. And I'm actually going to, use that as my like send-off show, or my send-off whiskey on, for Philly next week. So
nice.
That should be fun.
That sounds awesome. I was lucky enough to pick up a few as well. We got that Doff-Mill 12-year 2007 winter release we'll take a look at. And we've got a new one, the Torvig 2017 heavily peated, which is looking pretty good at 46%. And a Glentronic 21. We picked up one of those. The non-chill filtered version. Thank God I was able to get another one.
Yeah.
And also at some point, and I was wondering if you were, I was wondering if you were going to do it during your happy hour, but I wasn't sure if you were going to do like your own show special for it or how you were going to do it. But I got Eric a sample of that Scorch that we just took a look at. So.
Yeah. I am going to do that after the tune next week.
Okay.
So I'm going to check out that sample. And I could also sit on it if you want to do a full show on it. But yeah.
No, I literally just did one on May because I wanted to get. It was the first one out of the gate. No distiller reviews have been done. No YouTube reviews were done. So I put it out there, and I thought I'll take a look around and see if anyone else has done it. I've only seen one or two. So if you are trying to do like an exclusive thing, you might want to release this soon because I've only seen one or two other people actually do it.
Yeah. I think I'll do that on Tuesday, man. I think I'll do unless I go live at some other time this week. Who knows? Yeah. But I never know. I'm going to tentatively plan to taste that sample, which I got to thank you for. That's super cool.
I'm really eager to see what you think of it because it was a very happy return to what I like to see at Ardbeg. It was not like the drum. It was not like the Ardbeg rye, to me at least. I know you were more of a fan of that one a little bit. But
I thought it was okay. I thought it was competent. It wasn't. Telex, let me tell you something. After we met up on Sunday, I swung by Total Wine, on the Delaware border of PA. And they had like 3 bottles of the Ardbeg for $200, and I didn't. I was just like, no. I just couldn't do it. It was fine. The sample was fine. It just wasn't like.
Yeah, I wouldn't even bother on that bottle. To be honest,
it just wasn't that remarkable. Like it didn't do much for me.
The good news is with this one, it might not be as good as the Dark Cove, but it's a lot better than the other ones between the Dark Cove and to me the grooves and the ones that we liked, but it didn't really blow us away like some of the older ones did. This is the new one from Colin Gordon as the new master distiller. This is kind of like his intro bottle, and the couple of the reviewers that looked at it with me, they were thinking that this actually might be a good sign. We'll have to see. I'm cautiously optimistic of what they're going to do later. So
interesting. I'm looking. You would say it was better than the Cask Strength Black?
I think so. Yeah. I don't think even if you were able to I think that with the black, a lot of the only really major roughage was people that could detect the younger whiskey that was in there. With this, I think that this has like a Hazelburn kind of a funk to it. It's like not a funk as far as peat funk, but more of like a barley kind of organic barley kind of a feel. So it's a bit different with that, and the heavily charred cask, the ex-bourbon cask they use, it's a bit intense. So I'll just see what you think of it at some point.
God, you're making me want to crack it open now, brother.
Sorry. Well,
that's all right.
Maybe down the road.
yeah. Maybe down the road.
Because we got some really fun Laphroaigs.
Serious business to attend to this evening. It's Laphroaig night again. What is this part? Laphroaig night 2. Pete Boogaloo going on here on Telex and Malt Show. We have the brand new Laphroaig 10 Sherry Oak finish, which we're going to talk about, and we are also going to do a throwback killer Cairdeas. From what I remember, it has been a long time. 2015. So, which one of these do we start with, Telex? Do we bury the lead? I think folks probably want to know about the sherry.
I'm thinking let's start with the Sherry Oak because the 51.5 and the 48's not a huge enough difference to I think blow us out.
That's true, but the sherry on this is heavy. But that, you know what? It doesn't matter.
Which
the most accessible? Let's do the most accessible one first. So,
are you sure?
Yeah, I'm 100% positive. All right, so this is an Eric pour. Telex is going to take the lead on his initial notes, but I'm going to give you guys the tail of the tape here. Look at how beautiful that is. What are we looking at here? This is a Laphroaig 10 years old. It is a 48%er.
Nice.
Hey, can't complain about that.
Not at all.
It is Sherry Oak finished, so it is not full maturation. It doesn't, of course, tell you on the back how long said finish has happened. The internet speculates that it is between 12 to 18 months. So if you imagine a Laphroaig 10 with the ABV kicked up to 48% and then was put in a sherry cask, Oloroso, for upwards of 18 months, year and a half.
Yeah,
substantial sherry influence here. There are about, I think, 470 some cases of this first batch out there. It is unclear whether or not this is core range now or not.
Okay.
That I have heard back and forth. It says limited on it, but limited is such a useless term in Scotch whiskey, as you all know. It means absolutely nothing, so it's tough to say. That said, what we're looking at here, y'all, is a goddamn sherried Laphroaig. A Laphroaig that is profiling sherry. Now tell me about name a Laphroaig that does that. I don't think there is one.
One question for you real fast. The 4450 cases. Now in a case, I don't usually buy wine or is it 6 bottles?
Yeah.
So 4450 times 6. That would tell us how many bottles there are. It's a pretty good yield, I'd say. It's not too bad.
Like 12. I don't know, a couple thousand.
12,000. Yeah.
There will be more, I am sure. I don't know. I just don't know. And if somebody in the chat knows if this is actually going to be core range or not, it would be great to know. No matter what, it's great to see this. This was released in the UK 2 months ago. It is starting to show up here in the US now. US prices on this, $85. So 26,000 bottles, right? So there's a healthy amount of bottles. So this will make its way around the US sooner than later. If it hasn't already around your area, something you can keep your eyes out for. Really excited that it's got the age statement. Really excited that it's got a 48% ABV. Really, it doesn't say anything about color or chill filtration, so we have to assume they've added some color and chill filtered. I don't know. It doesn't say anything here on the tube. Here's one more look at the tube. It looks very similar to the old cast strengths, before they changed the label a little bit. With the red on it, it's a little bit of a darker red.
Do you know if like the other core options, are those chill filtered? I can't remember if it's like the lower.
They don't say, man. They don't say.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go on the online, and there's a lot of speculation that Laphroaig doesn't chill filter, but they add color. There are some people who would say that, but again, you don't know because they don't tell you.
Gotcha.
So what we're looking at here is a 10-year-old Laphroaig with upwards of maybe a year and a half worth of sherry oak finish. It doesn't say first fill or anything. It just says Oloroso sherry. How excited are you for this, bro?
I'm pretty damn excited. I poured it a bit earlier. I thought I'm not going to let it sit out too long. So I do like the peat to be pretty fresh. You know, when you're doing peated whiskeys, it's kind of tough if they're aged because you want to give it time to breathe a bit for some of the notes, but you don't want to lose your peat and smoke either. So yeah, it's a beautiful color, man. That's what you expect to see. I think after, like you said, it was like a year almost in the sherry. So
According to the internet, year to year and a half. I mean, I'll just say this on the onset. As a Laphroaig fanboy, as much as you are probably as much of a fanboy as I am, which is to say, we love Laphroaig. Boy, oh boy, was it exciting to see this because goddamn, it has been. You see all these distillers. I think the only one is Ardbeg that doesn't have a just sherry forward release. It's like, come on.
Yeah, the only one that
you got the Loch Gorm out there. Lagavulin 16 clearly is like, I think Lagavulin 16 is sherried.
Yeah, the only one they have is that PX cask, but you have to get it either travel retail or you have to order. You can order it overseas. Mm-hmm. The Meteora was kind of close, but not quite to like a regular sherry thing. Yeah, they don't really have the lure is like the only thing they really had, and it was the most expensive part of the line.
Yeah, right. Well, so really, I mean, the lure, maybe $20 more than this, but I think this is a much more sherry dominant whiskey than the lure, but. Yeah. I'm really excited to hear what you think about this. This is the first exciting release for me of 2021, to be completely honest, on the Islay, peated Scotch side. This was the one that I was like, holy shit, I got to get this.
Yeah, I think I agree, Dustin, that the lure is pretty sherry forward, but this one seems like it's going to be a really welcome. Hopefully they do have it as part of the core. I haven't never done anything with it yet. It might be. I'm not saying it's horrible, but I don't know anything about it yet. But I'm hoping if it's good that they do add it to the core line because this is like exactly in my wheelhouse. My favorite whiskeys are your peaty, smoky whiskeys, also your heavily sherried, either PX, Oloroso, or even both. With the peat and smoke. This is exactly what I look for in the perfect type of whiskey. Like the Lagavulin Distillers Edition is one of my favorites because I like the PX with it.
Oh yeah.
I love anything like Kilchoman does usually is solid because it's got the heavily peat smoke and it's got like a cask finish, type of finish or maturation, whatever. Those are like my favorites. So I'm eager to get in here.
Okay.
Wow, that's a beautiful, viscous drop of legs, man. I can see like 5-6 really slowly moving legs in my Glencairn. That's perfect. That's what you want to see. 48% is beautiful. Hopefully, this is going to be like the new norm if they do some new core replacements or testing. Like the 48's like the sweet spot for me when it comes to like a first basic core release. If you're not doing cask strength, you might as well not go as low as 43 if you can help it.
Right. Well, I'm going to let you have first go at this one, my man.
Okay. This is definitely a different nose off the bat. I definitely get the sherry right off the nose. It's not like the PX cask. This is definitely more of an Oloroso sherry, it feels like, at least.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, they say explicitly on here that it's an Oloroso, too. So, that's totally in line.
Okay. Thank God. If I got PX notes, I would have thought I was crazy or something. Yeah, it's very dry fruit. It's got a nice muskiness to it. It's got like this, it's like a nice dankiness without any funk. It's more of like just a nice rainy evening with lots of deep red fruit, like kind of spicy too. I'm getting like a cinnamon type of or some sort of like spicy ginger with it. Huh. Yeah. It changes a lot. Oranges.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I get basically a lot of things you're saying. There is a dustiness to it that is curious,
like an orange.
but there's a core, like it's almost like a vanilla strawberry or a vanilla raspberry smoothie. That's kind of like this nucleus of it that doesn't seem to change much. It's very sweet, very forward, and then there's all these. For me, a lot of things you mentioned are kind of revolving around it.
It's getting more burning. Say again?
Bacon too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm getting like this burning, like almost like a torched sensation to the nose. It's like something's on fire, but not like charred. It's more of like like something's already been a little bit burned, but not in a bad way. Like
not like a bad drug deal.
That's interesting. It's like this.
I know, it's like an accent. It's like you walked in a room where bacon was cooked 8 hours ago.
Yeah, it's really subtle, but it's really got a deep burning to it without being charred. If that makes any sense, it's
interesting. For me, it's a little more on the char side, but I hear what you're saying. I mean, all in all, like this is sweet, it's savory, and it's complex, and it's very like fruit forward. It's quite interesting.
It started out spicy, and now the more I'm nosing it, it is like drifting towards a sweeter side of things.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's like some almost like a Mexican like a real hot chili pepper, like a red chili is in there even too.
Yeah.
A lot of spices.
Fresh spices. Yeah. Very fresh.
Yeah, it has like with the citrus and the spicy freshness. It's funny, even though it's dark, it's got this like brightness around it at the same time. Huh.
Oh.
I think I'm getting some sort of. I'm trying to determine if it's either vegetal or herbal, but I'm trying to decipher.
Herbal.
Yeah, I think it's more of like an herbal. Like
honestly, it's like for me, it's like a smoked paprika thing. You ever had like like the smoked paprika, kind of sweet, like a ham, like a honey glazed ham.
You nailed it. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Maybe even like a little pomegranate or something. It's crazy. It's like it's got this. It's funny because it's like it's definitely got a sweet side to it, but there's a lot of savory, like herbaceous things going on.
He's delicious.
It sounds crazy, but this is a lot different. I know someone made the comment that they thought this one was weird, and I was trying to figure out what did they mean by weird, and I'm thinking, well, this does have a more like vegetal / herbal essence to it than the typical Laphroaig has. It's not like maritime earthy like Leela. It's more of like a vegetal earthal.
Yeah, that hospital note, that fresh kind of medicinal, clean. You're sitting in the dentist office. You're sitting in the waiting room at the hospital. I still get that in here. It's a little bit. It's not as prominent, but it's there.
The iodine is there. I'm definitely getting like an iodine antiseptic type thing going on too. Yeah. But it's that there's so much spice / sherryness going on with it. I think that's what's making it kind of mellowed out on that tone.
Yeah. Shall we?
Yeah, we shall, man. Sorry, I'm really enjoying the nose.
It's fine. Hey, take all the time you want.
Sláinte, man. It might have been going nose-wise. I think it might have been going into like it didn't get to a chocolate level, but I was hoping that it would initially get there at some point. But I think I'm getting it. That is a.
Oh wow.
That's an interesting mouth coat too. That's nice and. The delivery matched what the nose as far as it connects well.
Yeah.
It flowed. There is like Wow, it's drier. It's a little drier than I thought, but that's okay. It does have a nice mouth coat, medium to thick, slightly oily. It's not waxy or anything like that. It does have this like peculiar. I don't want to say green pepper, but it's got like that.
Oh wow, that's a great point, Telex. I don't mean to cut you off, but you said green pepper. I know exactly what you mean. There's this like, it's almost like meaty. Like,
Yeah.
you ever had a Mortlock?
Hmm.
Like, if you imagine a Mortlock, if you strip away everything but its savory element, there's a meatiness to this that is like unique. It's the same as anything else.
Yeah, it's like I get the sherry, I get the nice waves of like this medium deep to deep, and more in the deep end fruit wise, like not like black cherry because this is not nearly as sweet as I thought it was going to be. This is more of like
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
this reminds me a lot like a Longmorn kind of a taste. Have you had the Longmorn yet?
Yeah.
Was it the
I'm not
16?
sure I'm there. Yeah, I'm not quite there with you on that.
Was it the 16?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
This is more like a Mortlock to me.
Yeah, I mean, I do gravitate more like it has more of a meatiness to it. The Longmorn I was comparing it to for the spice, even though it's not as
Yeah, I
spicy.
see what you're saying. Although I think this is more aggressive than the Longmorn. It's
Spicy wise though,
um,
it's up there. But see, that's why I like the Longmorn 16 because it does have a spicy, savory thing going on. But the Longmorn is definitely more complex when it comes to other factors. But I was just talking about the spice level.
Yeah.
If you take the spice level of a Longmorn and the meatiness of a Martlock and put it together with Laphroaig peat, that's what you get with this, I think. If you took like, the spice of the Longmorn, the meatiness of the Mortlock, put it with like the iodine TCP thing from Laphroaig with the peat, you kind of get, I think, something like that.
I see what you're saying. Try another. Go for your second sip and tell me what happens for you. I'm real curious about this.
Okay, letting the oxygen come in a little bit. It's nice, and it's got like a nice white pepper thing going with it's a little
Jammy.
It does have some jamminess to it. It's just funny how it's not even remotely as sweet as I thought it was going to be. It's definitely on a more. It's nice and dark. It's darker than I thought, which is a good thing. It's like the savory notes have a slight sweetness to them that makes it, because if it didn't have that, I'd be kind of depressed. But it does have a nice slight sweetness that keeps it going. It is very, very herbal / vegetal but it's only in the back end. It's not like on the front. It's only in the back, which is really a lot different than the Laphroaig I've had. I will say that. I'm not sure if I'd call it weird, but I guess it's a lot different than anything else I've had by them. It's definitely got a hot after finish to it, like in a
spice. Yep.
It's a cross between not just the spice, but
cinnamon red hots.
Yeah, there's like an ethanol thing going on too in the back. It's a little hotter after the fact than I was expecting. Not in a bad way, but just it's still kicking as I'm talking.
If I was going to compare this to a Laphroaig that I've had, this reminds me of the Cairdeas 2020 poured in red wine cask. Like, it's that same very thick, fruity, dark cherry, slightly like barbecue sauce. Like not a Kansas City barbecue sauce with the molasses. We're talking more like a Carolina's the vinegar. What is that? The area where it's more like the ketchup-y, like the more fruit forward. Like a Texas barbecue.
It's definitely like a mouthful of those hot tamales without the sweetness. It's like
the cinnamon red hots are very, very assertive on this.
It's funny. It's like I was hoping that this would have more sweetness to it, but Jack was mentioning So we're thinking the PX is sweeter. I would say if it was PX, it'd be a hell of a lot sweeter than.
Well, and we got that Carchus coming this year, which is going to be a cast strength PX.
No, that's going to be, I think, right up in my
tuned for
wheelhouse.
that.
I like this. It's just so different, though. I don't know. It's not like in my wheelhouse, so I'm having a trouble.
Yeah.
As far as in my wheelhouse, as far as the type of whiskey I like, it's not in my wheelhouse at all when it comes to something that I would buy for myself because of the profile that it is.
Yeah.
If I knew it was this going to be this spicy and more on the drier end and more like nice and savory herbal vegetal stuff going on, then maybe if I was prepared for it, but it's wow. it is a bit different.
Yeah. I just put a couple drops of water on mine. I'll be curious what happens for you.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing here. The sweetness it's getting sweeter with more oxidation, so maybe over time this bottle will change. And that does happen. I was just talking about it on my Scorch show that sometimes you get these whiskeys like the Kalila 17 unpeated for me. I hated it the first time I tasted it. It was way, way too salty, briny. But over like the 3 months I tried it again, still not there yet. But 6 months later, a totally different bottle. It went from like a 2-star dram to a 4.75 out of 5 type of dram. It was that different. So you never know.
Yeah.
I just popped a couple drops in here.
Pop and drop, bro.
You go first in the water and tell me what you think on the.
Yeah, happy to. I mean, it cuts through for me. It cuts through what I would describe as a little bit of the like heaviness. It's a little more lively. There's a little bit more effervescence. I get a little more of the bourbon notes now. I mean, the vanilla, the like very slight brown sugar, the little bit of milk chocolate's kind of peeking its head through here. Which for me is a good thing.
Oh yeah, I like it better with the water already on the nose.
Yeah, I like again, I still get there's like hints of like a sweet mesquite, a sweet barbecue. Again, this is not molasses. This is not like a Casey masterpiece. This is more like you know what I'm talking about. The ones with the less molasses, more like tomato forward barbecue sauce. It's sweeter. It's not vinegar. It's not like Carolina light sauce.
No. Yeah, this has got like a nice light brown sugar note.
Oh yeah, for sure. The light brown sugar is there. There's a nice little bit of a confectionery note of like a vanilla chocolate covered cherry. Like the milk chocolate's peeking its head through. It's not totally there, but I think the water has opened this up and kind of shattered the heaviness of this whiskey. And when I say heaviness, I mean heaviness in the sense of the savory, the spice, the herbal, the heavy fruit, jammy notes.
Yeah,
it breaks that a little bit, and honestly, I think this whiskey's a testament to like why you should always put a couple drops on a bottle, even if it's at 40% for that matter.
Getting like a nice graham cracker.
Yeah, I'm looking for another taster.
Getting like a nice graham cracker. Getting like a toasted marshmallow, not marshmallow, a toasted almond, and with a graham cracker note after the water on the nose too. That's cool. Huh.
Yeah. Much sweeter with water.
Yeah, you're right about that. Wow.
And wow, the chocolate note, the milk chocolate note just surges on the back of that. Did you see that hand motion I did? I was like Kurt Gibson with that. I was like, boom, there it is. Just surges on the back end of that development as it goes into the finish.
That's much better with the water. Wow. That finish is still going on with that milk chocolate on the finish. Wow.
There's also a slight hazelnut. There's a slight almond. There's a little bit of like chocolate covered almond, chocolate covered cashew kind of thing. You know what I mean? You get the mixed nuts with the chocolate, but it's milk chocolate. It ain't dark chocolate. It is milk chocolate.
Yeah, it's like a milk chocolate meets Nutella. It's got like a Nutella kind of a thing going on.
Yeah. With the hazelnut. Yeah, the hazelnut thing. Yeah, definitely.
Wow, man, this is much, much, much. I wish I'd. I think I'd have saved a little more because I was like, damn, I wish I had this whole thing with the water. It's so much better. It's
Yeah, to be
insane.
clear, Telex, I mean, and just for folks watching, I think, Telex, I poured that sample for you within 48 hours of opening this bottle. So it was, you're getting a pretty tight pour, as I was. I mean, as you can see, I've put a little work into
Oh
it.
wow, yeah.
But nonetheless, it is not surprising me that the water is doing you some justice right now.
It's like major justice, man. I'll be honest. I'll tell you when I get more into it. But man, it's
Yeah.
like night to me, like night and day difference on this bottle with the water. Wow. Oh, I can't believe how much the notes are changed on the nose and the palate and the finish with just those 2 drops. No joke. I love that. Now it's more of like a more balanced, spicy, chili meat sweetness thing connected.
Yeah.
That's so much better. Wow.
Let us know in the chat. Has anybody had this bottle yet? We'd love to hear your thoughts as well on this. I mean, I'll be, I for one was very excited to hear the news about this bottle. A sherry Laphroaig? Hell yes. How have they not done this before?
Man.
Yeah.
That's so surprising how different that is. And the people, I'm not sure if anybody in here thought it was strange or weird or crazy or whatever, but if you were one of those people, did you try it with the water and did it change it a lot for you where you weren't as did it help a lot like it did for me? Because I tell you what, I was not a big fan before, and then with the water, I'm almost like a Two-Face.
Yeah. Andrew Page I saw he just dropped in the chat. He said, I think it's certainly worth $80. It would be, I would buy another bottle if I can find one again. It'd be fun to compare with other Freugs.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is a bit different with the availability is kind of strange because I'm not sure if they're kept a lot for the American market or
it's starting to show up now. I mean, I think people are going to find this more often. I mean, there's 26,000 bottles. I think. I mean, it's not going to be hard to find relatively soon.
I do agree with Andrew. I do like this better than the port and wine. Only with the water, though. That's the real kicker for me. Because before the water, I like that port and wine cast better. But with the water, with this, I do like it better after, And I'm sure oxidation will help a lot with this bottle too, at least a little bit. Hey, Dram, good to see you, man. Have you got one of these?
Cody.
Have you tried the Laphroaig Sherry Oak 10 yet, Dram? What did you think of it? About to do a score here in just a couple minutes here, it looks like. I guess I'll take a stab at it, man. It's
my pour. You go first, my man.
Man, I love the fact that Laphroaig's considering this as a core. I love the age statement. Love the ABV at 48. We're iffy on the chill filtering and coloring. Is it a make or break for me on this one? No, I mean, if it was more highly aged, which would mean higher price, then I would be a little more finicky with the chill filtration and coloring and all that. For an under $100 bottle, this one's being about 80 to 90, most likely for me here in Maryland. I'm okay with that. I will tell you though, I'm going to preface this a little bit and say, when I first went for the nose, I was fine with that. It kind of, it spoke to me what a Oloroso sherried whiskey should. But when I got to the palate neat, I'll be honest, I was surprised of how much spice and savoriness was going on and how little sweetness there was there at all for me, even with all this sherry. It kind of goes to show you never know what to expect with Oloroso. I've had some really nice ultra dry savory Olorosos, and I've had some sweet actually Olorosos depending on the age and the other elements that are going on if it's got another cask, maturation or whatever, or finish. But with that said, when I went back and I had it with the water, it completely changed it. The nose even got better, and the palate was a complete switcheroo. It went from a 1.75 out of 5 to, I'm thinking, after all that said and done, the finish was a little dry from my taste usually, but it is Oloroso at 10 years. You can't be too picky about that, because that's what they're presenting. I should know what to expect with that. With all that said, I'm thinking I'm going to go with the water. It's better than average. I'm not going to go crazy. I don't think it's quite up to the 4 because of the chill filtering and the coloring and some of the things you got to kind of play with to get it to work. But once you get it to where you want it to be, it is a quality dram. So I'm going to say, I'm thinking 3.25 to 5, and I'm really kind of struggling with where to sit on the fence. I think since it's so ultra dry on the finish, I'm going to stay at 3.25 out of 5 on this one. But it is enjoyable. As far as with the water, I know I like it. Would I like my own bottle of it? I would, if it was 80 or under. If it's above that, I'm probably gonna pass. But that's just me on that one. What about you, man?
3.25 from Telex.
Thank you so much for the pour too, by the way. It's very,
absolutely,
very good.
Man, absolutely. So when I first poured this, I was expecting a Kilchoman Saneg, and what I got was a Kilchoman Loch Gorm.
You thought this was like the Loch Gorm. Interesting.
And what I mean by that is that the sherry was so dominant, almost to a fault. It was so heavy. It's so assertive. I don't know if it's the amount of time or the ABV, maybe a little combination of both. I think they could have toned it down a notch. As weird as this sounds, I would have said I would prefer it stay at 48%, and maybe they go 3 months to 6 months on the sherry. When I think about whiskeys, when I think about Islay whiskeys that I love, because as you mentioned, Telex, your wheelhouse being a sherry finished Islay whiskey. You brought up Lagavulin Distillers Edition. I love that. I think about Ardbeg Ugadal, which has got a little bit of sherry in it. This is not an Ardbeg Ugadal. If you're thinking about like, oh shit, this is gonna be that ratio, it ain't that. Where the sherry is complementary, this is sherry forward. So when I say Saneg, and I like Saneg, the thing is that Saneg is Kilchoman and this is Laphroaig, and I feel like there's some of the elements of a Laphroaig 10 are a bit lost here because of this sherry overcoat. That all said, the water is the game changer on this. It goes, as Telex said, and I'm in a complete agreement, this goes from I wouldn't say a 175 for me, maybe more like a 275. Neat. It's just cloying. It's good. But it's cloying. I'm trying to put away my bias because I love Laphroaig. It's just too much. It doesn't quite work. If they would have toned down the ABV or toned down the maturation of this finish, I think it would have shined a little bit more. That said, water does the trick. And a few drops of water on here, I ain't going to complain at a 48% ABV. I enjoy it. And would I buy another bottle? Probably. I don't know. It would depend on the price. I'm going to be a little more bullish on this whiskey just because I think what it has to offer as a sherry Laphroaig, I think it's a really good first shot. I think it is better than the Cairdeas last year. And I think oxidization gives us some upside. I'm going to go. I'm right where you are. I'm into that 3.25 to 3.5. I think I'm going to go a little higher than you. I'm going to go 3.5. So I think this is a whiskey worth trying and definitely picking up if you find it at a good price and you like this style. So
Yeah.
3.5 from Muser, 3.25 from Telex. And I do want to mark that this is when I tried this neat, I was hovering between 3.75 and 3.5. And now I'm like, I've dropped it down a little bit, you know. I'm like, you know, this is good. I just think it's a little much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I usually like heavily sherried whiskey, even if it's with peat, without peat. So the level of sherry usually doesn't bother me. This one, yeah, it was like it's so much in your face. The funny thing is, I'm wondering if they used a tawny port with this because it doesn't have the ruby port. I'm not port. What am I saying? The sherry Oloroso that they're using in it. It's very. I wonder if it's like like if it's a freshness factor where the spice is so heavy that it doesn't take if it overtakes all the other, maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's like you said, do you think it's like a level, do you think it's a level of sherry as far as an amount, or do you think it's like a youth versus old thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's either matured too long or the ABV is off. I think if you're going to mature this for 16 months or 18 months, up to 18 months, lower the ABV. I think something has to give. Either less maturation in the sherry to make it complementary to Laphroaig style, because the problem here fundamentally, and I'm trying not to like hate on it too much in this way. Knowing what a Laphroaig should taste like, I feel like the Laphroaig elements are a little buried in this. And that's because of the ABV, or it's because it's been too damn long in the maturation or in the finish. Either, I would prefer they touch down, lower this to 3 to 6 months, go Ardbeg Ugadal style.
Yeah.
And have just like a Laphroaig 10 at 48%. With a couple drops of sherry just to give you a little complexity.
Yeah, just a much,
It's an overcoat. This is like too much. Water fixes it. We'll see what oxidization does. I think it's a competent whiskey. I'm glad they're putting out a sherry whiskey.
Me too. Yeah.
I just think it's a little heavy.
Yeah, no, I agree.
If you poured this neat for me, I'll be honest. You poured this neat blind, I would say this was honestly, I'd say it was a fucking Lochgorm. Because Lochgorm is 100% sherry. This is how much sherry flavors in it. Can you detect, without water, could you detect any of the classic ex-bourbon notes you would get out of Laphroaig in this? I couldn't.
No, I mean, I wouldn't.
They're buried.
I don't know if I would go as far as like, I really enjoyed the Lochgorm because it has a lot of sweetness in it.
No, I like the Lochgorm.
Okay.
But the thing is that like this whiskey is not
the level of sherry,
it's not 100% sherry, yet you'd think it might be, but there's something off about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you got a 2016 batch of Lochgorm and you're like, something's a little off here. Like, that's where I'm at with this.
To answer your question, Ben, for me, I think it might have been a neck pour, but for Eric, definitely not. He's already gone through almost the whole bottle.
I mean, all my whiskey is in a truck to Chicago right now. What do you want from me?
I hear you, man. I don't blame you one bit, because if I was stuck in my house and all I had was my whiskey, that's the first thing to go.
I don't want to hate. I'm not hating on this, and I think we gave it respectable scores. It's not a bad whiskey in any way.
No.
This is not. It's not crap. What I just think is that it just seems like. It seems like it's like rushed, or like they could have just either lowered that, drop it to 46, or keep it at 48, but drop that time in the sherry cask a couple of months. Just a little more equilibrium here. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think with the water in time, Andrew, I probably would creep up to probably around a 3.5, 3.75 over time. But just going off of, first instinct and the first, thing. The cool thing about this is, and I'm sure Eric's done it before, a year from now or two, if it's still available, we'll revisit it again and go over it and see what we've, because like I noticed with, I'm sure with you guys too, like when I first tried the Bowmore 15 Darkest, I probably gave it like a 3.5 out of 5, thinking that, okay, this has got a good flavor, blah, blah, blah. But then once you make your rounds and you try everything and then you come back to it, you might be a little more critical and pick out a lot of the nuances that you didn't really enjoy the first time. You just didn't know how to explain it, and now you might
Yeah.
come back and be like, "Well, it's more of like a 2.5 out of 5 because of all these little factors that you find." So it kind of,
Yeah, that's totally true. And at the same time, Telex, I mean, we're pretty like, we're neither of us are by any means connoisseurs, but we're not beginners either. But like we do, and I want to stress this for folks watching, like we do try to do our best, especially in the first hour when we do what we consider like a more accessible whiskey most of the time. Like we try to like approach it from that framework. We're not trying to approach it from like a snob framework. And that's why I think something like this is getting, I mean, we're willing to, this goes into the 3 range. I mean, if I mean, it's just part of our format. So like, we're coming at this style from like, we're meeting this whiskey where it's at, is what I'm saying. Like we're meeting it where it's at. We're not expecting this to be a 25-year-old Laphroaig and therefore
right.
like making others shit. Like that's just not the format that we operate on. So like, I want to stress that point just to like be clear that like, while we're kind of like poo-pooing yet giving it a 3-some score, it's like, what are you guys talking about? That's the reason. It's because we're both, we've been around the block a few times, but also like approaching this from a, like, at least from my perspective, like, should you go out and buy this tomorrow?
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think we gave it its justice because it's a good price. We both respect the whiskey. Yeah. We both think it's above average, which is already above it's a B to a B plus at that point. Yeah. So I think we actually are giving it a pretty damn good.
Yeah, we are for sure.
Evaluation overall. So I'm excited about going back to some kind of old stomping grounds with the old Cairdeas that'll be fun one to take a look at in a little bit too.
I'm going to go get myself a little bit of water here, Telex.
All right, man.
We'll be right back.
All right, man. What are some of your guys' favorite Cairdeases? Mine is the 2013 Portwood as my number 1. 2 would probably be the Amontillado. Is really good. I hate to go in order, but that one is so damn good. Those 2 are like in the class by themselves. They're like 4.75 out of 5, if not 5 out of 5 whiskeys. They're that good. Once you get past it to this guy, we're going to take a look at this one here pretty damn soon. This is from 2015. Once you get to the Madeira and the quarter cask, the Fino, to me, from the after this guy to like the Madeira, and then when the quarter cask came out, it kind of did a little dip, and it came back slightly up with the Fino, and I think they really kicked ass on the triple wood, the Cairdeas triple wood version. And then it kind of took a little dip for me for the port wine. So I'm really excited about this new. If you haven't already heard, the 2021 this year, Cairdeas will be that PX. Someone asked if it was going to be a maturation or a finish, and I believe I'm going to try to look this up real fast if I can, to see if it's going to be PX, if it's going to be, it's definitely going to be non-chill filtered, thank God, which was what we want to hear. Let's see, let me look and see what I can find here. Triple matured. It's a triple maturation. The first maturation was in first fill American oak I'm sorry. First, I mean, it's a tongue twister. First fill American Oak ex-bourbon barrels. The second in American Oak ex-bourbon quarter cask. And the third and finish in European Oak hogsheads, originally containing the PX sherry. The PX influence is described as adding a sweetness, which is balanced with oak and all the much-loved classic Laphroaig flavors of the peat, smoke, and salt. Non-chill filtered, cask strength 58.9. Ooh, doesn't that sound just unbelievably good? And is expected to hit stores of the summer and fall of 2021. Usually here it's later towards, it's not, we don't usually get it here in summer, we get it in fall. But I am really looking forward to the PX cask strength Cairdeas. Oh man, I'm just salivating just thinking about it. Let's go back and catch up with here. But 50 is the darkest. You don't need any nuances. Isn't that funny how that works? Nah, but that's one of those whiskeys where you take it and you come back to it, and it's just not near as good as you thought it was when you first had it. That happened to me with that one, and a lot of Bowmore distillery bottles too, I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Fino 2016, 2019 Triple Wood. Yep.
Oh, are you talking about your favorite Cairdeas releases?
I was asking them what some of theirs were, because I know that you're a big fan of the quarter cask one. For me, it's like, man, I'm stuck in my favorite two was the 2013, 2014, the port and the Amontillado.
Yeah.
After that, like this one we're gonna ready to talk about, so I don't want to go into that one yet. But then, like with the Madeira and the quarter cask, for me, I think they took a little bit of a dip, and they came back up with the Fino and the Triple Wood, and then they take another dip with the port wine. But that's the only one I think that, because I know you I like the Madeira, but you didn't like it, but you like the quarter cask, and I thought it was okay.
Yeah. I've only had a sample of the port. I liked it. B+. Amontillado A-. The 2015 we're going to get into, I'll save that review.
Yeah.
The Madeira B-.
What?
The quarter cask strength A-. The Fino B+. The triple wood cask strength B, and the port red wine finish B-. That's where I'm at.
Wow.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Telex.
You know what we should do for maybe we'll have to talk about it on the side, but maybe doing something for your Patreon people, doing a report card every once in a while and be like, this is our picks and these are our grades for this series, and we could pick whatever series you want to do and just throw it out there and see what At least it gives them a couple ideas of what we think, and if we're both giving something an A, you would think it's pretty much pretty good, at least for 70 to 80% of the population.
Most definitely, man. I mean, and we're gonna get into one that might push those boundaries a little bit. I'm gonna pour this in the glass now, but Telex, do check your phone because I texted you.
Okay.
And I'm gonna pour this Cairdeas in nice freshy here. We got a nice fresh. Yeah. Oh yeah. I haven't had this in a minute.
It's been a long time, man. This is I got really lucky, and it's funny that you found this because you can see this floating around. I think the earliest Cairdeas I still might see is that Amontillado 2014, but I actually have seen this off and on over the last few years. I guess people are just finally maybe popping out their bottles to resell. I'm not sure, but
yeah, it's weird. I stumbled upon this randomly. Yeah, they're not the easiest to find, but you still see them every once in a while. I mean, for folks, interested, you're going to find that, go to that old dusty store in your neighborhood that you never go to, and you check it out once a year, and you're going to go in there one day and be like, how the hell do they have a Laphroaig Cairdeas 2015 sitting on the shelf for $100? You got to grab it. And I'm really excited to get into this 2015. Telex, I know you got the bottle on this one, so I will let you give the tale of the tape.
And don't get this mixed up. First off, and this is kind of funny. Let me pull it down and show you guys what I mean. Give me 1 second.
Do it. Yeah, there's definitely a little nuance with this for sure.
Here we go. Do not get it mixed up with this guy. This looks a lot similar to what we're about to look at, but this is the 15-year-old Cairdeas that was the Friends of Laphroaig release that's 15 years old. This is not the 2015 Cairdeas, which is what we're about to look at. It's the same color, and it's really kind of too close if you aren't careful. You don't want the 15 to be down here. You want it to 200 years to be up here, and that's how you know the difference between the two Cairdeases.
Yeah.
This one came out. What year was that? This one's only 43%.
2015.
Was this one 2015?
That one also came out in 2015, but it was like, it's a weird one. It's hard to get in the US. It's like a UK thing, I think.
Well, to save you guys a lot of time and trouble, this is one of my least favorite Cairdeases across the board. It's only 43%. I do like the age 15 years, but it just, to me, didn't really add to the flavor. It just didn't do a whole lot for me. This was, I'm glad I got it to experience it on one hand, but the other hand is I would definitely not spend, secondary market prices for it, because you're not really missing out. I mean, it's not as bad as the Four Oak or the Select, but it's not up there with what you would consider a Cairdeas release being like, you know what I mean? Because they're not this is not Cat's strength, this other 15 years. So that's a big difference. But
yeah.
With that said, tell the tape on this one is this one, like Eric says, 2015, and this is the yearly release for Fish Shield. This one, you can go another way you can tell these on the ABV. This one's 51.5. And that's another way I should have remembered that it was 2015, because the 10th decimal will tell you the year. So the Amontillado is going to be 51.4% because it's 2014. The Mendiera is going to be 51.6 because it's 2016, and so on. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these. I'm not sure if they're still doing that with the this new one. Is going to be 58.9 for this next year. So I guess they decided to stop doing that formula, because 58.9 is a lot higher than 51.5. So that's going to be a treat when we get down to that new Cairdeas, man. PX, it's in my brain now. I gotta have it.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited for that one. That's really good.
But 51.5, we don't know as far as any special casks, but this one was the one that when John Campbell, the master distiller of Laphroaig, created a blend to basically go with the smaller stills at Laphroaig, and they stored it all in this warehouse. This is like this is more of a hands-on artisan version, I think, of the Cairdeas. This is kind of like the closest Laphroaig's going to get to like a Hazelburn or a Glengyle type of experience, because this is more of a hands-on type of product that they released for this one. The barley is very farmy-like. It's got a lot of essences going on with it in itself, so it doesn't even need more like a special cask or sherry or extra anything. It's just the peat smoke, the iodine, the barley you get off this particular I'm not sure if they get this from Port Ellen or who they're getting it from, but this is its own type of thing. I've never had a Cairdeas like this, and I don't think there ever will be another one like this unless they decide to do another hands-on small still type of procedure. So
right.
That's pretty much the tale. We don't know the coloring or chill filtration deal. I don't know if they would bother with a cast strength whiskey like the Cairdeas series. I would hope not. But Eric could tell you about the color and what he thinks he gets off of that. So
yeah, I mean, it's gorgeous. It looks like a nice, fantastic bourbon influenced Laphroaig. I mean, where we were talking earlier about the sherry overcoat, et cetera, I mean, that is not what you got going on here. This is a much more just fresh herbal. I mean, like not herbal. Barley grain, sweet honey. There's the medicinal iodine Laphroaig notes are just there in spades. It's It's so fresh. It's so fulsome, grainy. I mean, if you imagined a Glenmorangie, if you thought about the Glenmorangie Cadbury estate, that 15-year, and just took the peat out of it, there's so much that honey, that yellow apple, that just fresh hay, fresh straw, a little bit of sea salt, all of that. It's really working in this. It's a very just full, complex, delicious nose. Sweet. It's sweet, it's savory, and it's spicy, but not in the fruit. It's not the heavy fruit in any way. Oh, I love it.
It is really, really good. Good night to you, Loch Ness. Thanks for stopping by, man. I really appreciate it. Me was saying that the 15 and 16 were his favorites from what he's tried, though it's been a while since he's had either one. Yeah, I hear you there, man.
Yeah, man. The nose on this is just, this is what you want the Laphroaig 10 nose to be like. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wish the Laphroaig 10 nose was like this.
Oh, man. It's got a really nice it's that organic barley. I know we talked about the terroir. The terroir to me makes a huge difference with a whiskey like this, because if you got, I'm not sure, they probably got this from Port Ellen, we'll say, and if you just go across the same region to like Kilhoman, where they have their own farms, their own, like, where you get the Isle of Barley or the Macure Bay and all that from, each one has its own distinct almost flavor to the nose itself, to me, and I can definitely sense a difference from farm to farm. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm I've become a believer in the whole terroir thing, and like it's this one in particular. There's just an extra element, and it's like a sweet element. It's like there's I don't know, as weird as this sounds, there's just like a freshness. There's like a sweet, youthful freshness, just like somebody just cut off a stalk of like some grain in front of you, and you smell like the essential like notes off of it. That's I know how convoluted that sounds, but that's what it sounds. That's what it's like.
It's got like lots of hay and straw type of notes going on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But like you said, the honey is right there in your face with a lot of cream, vanilla. Oh man, it's got this nice kind of. It's not like tart, but it's like a nice spicy ginger type of note in there, with that iodine and TCP and the antiseptic that you usually want from Laphroaig. That's there too, but this twinge balance between like a spicy ginger, the cream that you get with those floral notes of like the hay and the straw, and it's weird. It's like, even though there's no darkness in there, you don't really feel like anything's missing. Like, you don't feel like you're missing any sherry or missing any crazy wine casks or any of that stuff. It's like just the barley enough. Did they do? I think this was like a floor malting that they did this. It was something special about the floor malting with this. Do you remember anything about it? Or
well, I think Laphroaig is known. I mean, they do all their own floor maltings, as far as I understand. But I think that if they don't, I know it was an emphasized point about this one.
I think they did, at least do it with this particular release. I don't think they do it with all their stuff, but
yeah, I might be wrong, but I think they do.
Oh, do they? With their own everything?
Yeah.
Huh. There was something about this particular release, though, with I can't remember if it was like they did the whole, maybe they usually do that process the same, but I think they were more hands-on throughout the entire process with this particular Cairdeas, if I remember right. There was something about the end of the process that was kind of special.
Yeah.
It definitely shows that they took their time more with it.
Yeah, for sure. The nose on this is just, it's one of the best noses that I've had on a Laphroaig.
I'm even getting like vanilla like wafer cookies in there too.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's almost even like a you ever had like brown sugar cinnamon oatmeal, like the Quaker oatmeal? Like there's a little bit of that. It's like
Yeah,
and then but it's got that wholesomeness. Yeah.
it's got like a cream of wheat kind of thing
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
You nailed it with that. I was trying to find a good descriptor for it, and that's perfect. Like a really nice hot breakfast in the morning.
God, it really is wonderful. Let us know in the chat if you have had this Laphroaig Cairdeas 2015 or any of the other Cairdeases or Laphroaigs that you just are big fans of. Let us know.
I'm getting some like nice doughy notes. It's not sourdough,
Yeah,
but it's
for sure, man, for sure. Yeah, it's very doughy.
It's not sour
It's
though.
like yeast, you know what I'm saying? Like there's like a yeastiness to it, which again, this is going to that. I'm assuming the local barley quality of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh man.
I'm gonna go in. Cheers.
Yep. Cheers, man. Ooh. Ooh, that power, man. That'll wake you up a little bit.
Oh man, that is good. It arrives very sweet. Again, similar to what we were saying on the nose. It's barley sugar forward. There's yellow fruit, honey, dark honey, light brown sugar, caramel, and just a freshness. Just a like you're in a Whole Foods bread section, and there's a sweet wheat, like bread loaves that have just been cut open, just wafting in your face. There's a nice backbone of it's the borderline between milk chocolate and dark chocolate, but I feel like it goes a little more in the milk chocolate range, but it has some of that earthy bitterness to it, but it's slight. And then just these tropical fruits. I mean, it's slightly pineapple-y, slightly mango. It just combines to give you this rich, very rich pineapple upside down cake, grilled pineapple upside down cake, if that's a thing. Just decadent. And then all the while, that medicinal sherry smokiness is just there in the background, working as a complement. Stunningly good whiskey. Oh, and I have to mention this. There are little hints of like sharp fruit, rhubarb, perhaps. Maybe even something like raspberry, just like a little bit of like a tart cranberry, maybe. It's in the back. It's complementary. It gives it a little bit of like when you thought maybe this sweetness could go on a little too long, it cuts off that sweetness a little bit and gives you a little bit of a tartness or like a finality to it. Absolutely great whiskey.
Yeah, I'm right along with you. The only thing I would add is getting a nice like candied ginger type of deal. Getting like a nice what is that? Like I was right along with you with the dark and milk chocolate kind of combo, but it is slightly on the sweeter, smoother side. But it does have this dark, nice minerality that's giving it also extra balance with all these other notes that we're coming up with. And man, that the delivery is perfect. Neat. It doesn't really need anything, but it's a little. I wish the finish was maybe a little longer. That's if I'm going to have a complaint. That's the only thing so far. Without the water, I'm not sure if that's going to help. Maybe, but
I mean, you know what? There's also, and I have to mention this, and I know I mentioned this before with the Sherry Oak, and so it's going to sound weird and misplaced here. There's a hint of like well, I said with the other one, it was like a honey glazed ham. This is much more of like a Black Forest ham or like a heavily clove spiced ham because it's got a little meatiness. It's got a little bit of that tanginess you get out of pork. Like, I know we're getting in the weeds here, but I'm telling you, it's there. This, I'll be honest, even neat. And what did you say, 51.5?
Yeah, 51.5. Yeah.
I'll be honest, this if it wasn't so damn pricey and hard to get in many cases, this is one of the best Laphroaigs you can get. I think this is maybe just outside the top 5 for me.
Wow.
It is that good. This would be a dram I would reach for over and over if it wasn't so goddamn expensive. Excuse me. Don Holland and Gary just made a couple good comments on this.
Yeah, I need a mezcal. The funny thing is, Eric did send me a mezcal. I do have a mezcal that we're going to take a look at some point, I think. And a happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody, too. Oh, and this is the one you were probably going for. Just pulled out my 2015 out of the bunker. I love this one. Yep, saving special occasion maybe for the end of this crazy time we're going through. I hear you there, man.
Hell yeah. Here, Don Holland.
Definitely.
This is a real winner, man. I mean, I don't want to – I'm not trying to go into final thoughts on it, but I'll be honest. Like, I mean, we're just sitting here neat right now. I'm talking about neat. This is before we drop water, and if you saw in our number 1, the water made a huge difference. I mean, this – would you drop $150 for this Laphroaig?
Oh, man.
I would.
Yeah, I mean, it's right at that threshold where, I mean – it's funny because if you are in the mood for a whiskey like this is a really damn good version of that. How often am I looking for that type of whiskey? I do usually gravitate towards more the either sherried or the finished or matured, in some special cask thing. But I do appreciate the straight up barley and the craft in this one. So it's a tough one. I think I think 150 would be my absolute limit though on a bottle like this. But I'm with you there. I do agree that it is damn good.
Yeah. Well, let's try a little water on it, shall we?
Yeah, I just added a couple drops. I need to have a little more.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a few drops on here too.
I need a little more neat in water. So I'm gonna put
the lime notes. There's those citrus notes. The citrus is coming through more now, but I'm still saying the core nucleus of this whiskey, of the fresh barley, the fresh grains, the fresh straw and hay, honey, and yellow apple, Macintosh apple, is just exploding out of this glass. And I would say in a way that is wholly unique to a Laphroaig and also fantastic. I mean, to be honest with you, fantastic. The bourbon notes, that's the thing. For something like this is definitely an ex-bourbon whiskey, but yet the bourbon notes are so complementary to an otherwise very malt-forward whiskey. It is just divine.
I love the when I went after the water, I went back for the nose and I got a really nice chunk of a Dutch apple pie combined with almost like a really nice Rice crispy treat marshmallow note. It's kind of interesting combination of those two.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Like Lucky Charm cereal.
Yeah,
there's a Lucky Charm cereal note to it.
It's the dextrose.
And horrible to our friends, but I'm telling you, weirdly it works. It weirdly works.
The dextrose, man. It's the dextrose.
Yeah, baby. A little MSG on top.
No, but no. Where we're going with this is the graininess of the cereal. It's got that kind of Rice crispy, grainy cereal kind of thing with
very well put, Telex. Very well.
The apple and stuff.
You're right about that apple. I mean, the apple's actually even more assertive than. I mean, I was saying kind of that mealy, middle of the road Macintosh apple. This is. It almost hovers in the more red apple too. like a with a bunch of cinnamon sugar on top. Like you just got handed a peach cobbler, but it's an apple cobbler,
There
and
you
it's
go.
got a crusty brown sugar cinnamon crust on top, and you can smell that hot apple coming through. It's there.
Very, very light on the brown sugar. Very light on the powdered sugar. It's got that kind of like lightness going on with
Yeah.
it.
All right, I'm going in for a taste.
It's not. There's no like heaviness, thankfully, with it. Which I think if it was too heavy, it would kill all the nice like lighter flavors we're getting from it. Nice white peppery note.
God,
I like that white
move
pepper.
grapefruit in it now with water. I almost kind of feel like, oh God, man, this. I'm going to save it for my final thought.
I love that like white pepper, and it does kind of fade into like a pink grapefruit, like a sweet grapefruit kind of note.
You nailed it. That's exactly the words I was going to say. Telex, you and I, we're like mind melding right now.
It's
hot damn. What a cracking whiskey.
The only thing that kills me on this whiskey, I wish that was longer, is that finish. It's like it's such a great nose and delivery and palate, and then it really dissipates for me after the after
really?
that.
Yeah, it hangs on a lot longer for me. It's a 2-note pony. It's malted milk ball with a little bit of like a kind of like a peppermint, like kind of menthol peppermint thing with the peat smoke. Like 3 notes, I guess. I wish it was a little longer, but I wish it was a little more dynamic. But again, I mean, for an NAS whiskey,
that's true. Yeah, you got to take that into account.
Well, I mean, or as a fault, like they could have put a fucking age statement on it.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of grapefruits too. That's probably might be why I think
white chocolate. Do you pick up white chocolate in this?
I do. There's a nice white chocolate, and that grapefruit note is so strong that might be why I'm not a huge fan of this one as much as Eric is, because I'll be honest with you, I hate grapefruit. And
me too.
Oh, really?
But I only pick up the grapefruit with water. It's still not that strong. It's really complimentary. It's like I'm the kind of guy where you and I go out for a couple beers, and they got 9 IPAs on there, and it's like, if it's got Cascade hops, I'm gonna be like, yeah. But if it's got Citra hops, I'm gonna be like, yeah. Like it's the difference between those two is like night and day. I agree with you. There's a sour element, especially with water on the end of this, which is like detracts me a little bit. But I still don't think it's enough to make it assertive enough. Like I've had so for anybody who's not into grapefruit notes, you could have 2 or 3 IPA whiskeys from 3 different breweries, which all have the same Cascade hops, for example, and 2 of them might be fine, and the other one is just way too bitter. Like it's at a certain sense, it's luck of the draw. All the other things that are in it are what are defining it. This, it's there. I notice it because Telex, before you even opened your mouth about that, I was like thinking about like, oh, there's that pink grapefruit thing. Like, but it's like just at the edge for me. It's as far at the edge for me of acceptable as it can be. And I like this more neat because it reduces that. But
yeah. No, I'm with you there. I'm going to try another pour, a little baby pour, just a little sippy neat to go back and kind of compare, because I definitely like it. I think I do like it better with. It's funny, the nose I like better with the water, but the palate I like better than it's neat.
God damn.
Ooh.
God, it's so creamy too, dude. I'm sorry, man. This is this is. I'm gonna hold back. I'm gonna wait until we go into the final thoughts. But
No, go ahead, man. I think we're about approaching there anyway, so you might as
this
well kind of
Laphroaig
go into
is
it.
all right. Fine. This Laphroaig fucking rocks, man. This Laphroaig is, for all of the reasons we've said. If you like those reasons, this is the Laphroaig to get. I did, and you can check this out on my channel if you're a subscriber. You can go back a little ways, and I did a top 5 Laphroaigs of all time. This one did not make that list, and the reason it didn't is because, to be completely honest, there are other ones that I liked more, and it was too damn expensive. I look back now and I'm like, oh God. I mean, this is lore quality. This is lore quality, but I think it's better than lore. It is so raw and like elemental that like it brings out so much of their distillery quality. I think it's better without water personally, because I think the grapefruit note gets a little bit accented with water. It's not my favorite. If you're into it, that's fine. But with water, it also brings out the milk chocolate, which I'm really enjoying. So I think this is the, we talked about Cairdeas releases earlier. My favorite Cairdeas release is the 2017 quarter cask. It's a 3-note pony. It's just intense citrus, peat, smoke, char, Laphroaig in your face. This would be my second. Honestly, it's neck and neck. As time goes on, I more and more respect this whiskey. It would be great if this had an age statement, because I think it would extend that finish a little longer and be a little more nuanced. I mean, but we're splitting hairs here. This is an annual release from Laphroaig. It's better than anything they've put out in the last 5 years. I would say that hands down, with the exception of the quarter cask strength, but I could understand and respect why somebody would disagree. This is a 4.5 out of 5 for me. If you see this on the shelf at $170 or less, this is a must buy if you're a Laphroaig fan. If you're not a Laphroaig fan, but you just love peated whiskey and want to spend money on a good, interesting one, 150 or less. Yeah, I'm 4.5 on this one.
Nice. I enjoyed this one a lot too. It's funny. I did not have my own bottle until Eric was able to find this on. And I really appreciate it. And I'm glad to have it as part of the old Cairdeas collection. As you can see, I was lucky enough to have this at a tasting before at the Speakeasy here in Annapolis, and this was with the Fino and with the Laphroaig 15 regular release, and they also had the I think the quarter cask release. And it's funny, this is where Eric and I differ, I think, a bit. He's more of the fan of the quarter cask, and this one, when I'm more of a fan, I think of the Madeira or the Fino, or maybe the I don't know, maybe the triple cask, something I don't know. We both had the triple.
I don't mean to interrupt you. Would you actually say that this is not as good as the Madeira?
I'm not going to go that far as craft. No. This is a tough whiskey for me to do a score on, because there's two different things. There's two different things going on for me with this whiskey. The great thing is I love the iodine, the TCP, the antiseptic that you get from Laphroaig in general. So I'm already a fan. And the only thing that makes it tougher for me is it doesn't have the sherry. It doesn't have like a Madeira cask or Amontillado cask. It doesn't have that other flavor that's going on. With that said, I do appreciate the organic, the craft. They're doing their own floor malting there. That part I do like. The thing that really irks me about this is that grapefruit note. To me, I know Eric was saying that for him it's not really at that level where he gets turned off by it because it's got some sweetness to it, which it does feel like more like a pink grapefruit than the standard one.
Yeah.
But that to me, that grapefruit note is pretty intense, especially if you add the water. And I do like it with water on the nose. I don't like it with the palate, which makes it tough. The finish for me was fairly dry. It was fairly short for me, to be honest. But I do love the delivery out of the gate. So it in the craft, minus the color and chill filtration, if that's an issue, everything else about it is really great. All that put together, I'm not going to be as giving. I don't think I'm not going to say it's better than the Madeira on the craft because I don't think it's as crafted as well as I think this is crafted better than the Madeira. For my subjective taste profile, I enjoy the Madeira more than I enjoy this whiskey. I know it's crazy, but I do like the taste of it because it's sweeter. It doesn't have the finish might be a little longer lasting for me with that sweetness and other factors because of the cask. So that's the reason why I might not be as giving on the score. I do think this is well above an average. So it's definitely far above a 3. So I definitely am taking that into account. I love the fact that you can play with water with it. It's cask strength. I'm going to go around a 4 out of 5 on this one. I think it's solid. I do enjoy it. If I was doing the Madeira, I might give it like a 4.25. So I think it's really close as far as like my enjoyment factor. This one might be not as much because the finish doesn't really do a lot for me. And finish to me is a really, really important aspect of a whiskey, maybe even more important than the nose and palate, to be honest with you. Because to me, it's like the nose, yeah, you can do with for a while, and the palate, but the finish is what you really makes it the dram memorable or not, for me at least. So that's why I'm kind of a little not as maybe as into it, but I do respect it. I'm glad I got my own bottle of it. I have no absolute zero buyer's remorse. I would go 150 on it. I don't know if I would go 170 like Eric was saying, but I'm kind of close. So I think that was a really good overview, I think, of it, though, especially for two totally different perspectives.
Yeah, man. There you go. So just to recap, on the Laphroaig 10 Sherry Oak finish, it was 3.5 from Muser, 3.25 from Telex. And on the Laphroaig Cairdeas 2015, 4.5 from Muser, 4 from Telex. Solid scores all around, you guys. Telex and I are homers for Laphroaig, as you can see, and highly recommend both of these bottles. These were really, really enjoyable, and thank you, Telex, for the Cairdeas sample. This was really tasty. Do check your phone, by the way. I had to text you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, man. Yeah, that's fine.
I don't expect you to check it out during the show, but
no, I literally have it right next to me, so it's all good. No, I understand.
But let us know in the chat. So, Telex, I was mentioning in my final thoughts, I did a top 5 Laphroaig, and, I do incorporate cost as a value judgment in my reviews. I know, like, that's the one difference between you and I. But we use the same scoring scale, so that's cool. I have a video on my channel called my top 5 favorite Laphroaigs. I would be curious, Telex, from your perspective, and I will, I can reveal mine, and if folks want to go check out the video, they can. But I'll reveal mine after this. But I would be really curious to hear if you could choose 5 Laphroaigs to be in your top 5. What would they be, brother? Because I'll be honest, for you and I, we've known each other all these years, and yet I don't think we've ever had the throwdown. Like, what are your fucking Laphroaigs, man? What
It's
are,
like,
what are the ones that you go for? What are the ones that if you had 5 bottles of Laphroaig you could have the rest of your life, what would they be?
wow. It's kind of like asking, like, I don't have any siblings. It's just funny, but if I did, it'd be like asking who's my favorite brother and sister.
And let us know in the chat, man. Like if folks, if you're a homer for a certain bottle of Laphroaig, you're number 1, or number 3, or number 5, or you have a top 5, drop them in the chat. I'd love to hear it.
And sure, April, there's always room for you and then welcome to the show. I appreciate you stopping by.
Hey, April, how you doing?
She's wanting to know if there's any room for a Scotch loving girl on the live show with all these gentlemen. I'm like, sure, why not, right?
Oh, there definitely is. I know we don't have Miss Chalmers from Florida in, or I don't know. Tamika Ivy's probably still in the chat.
Yeah, I saw Tamika earlier. She was hanging out.
There.
You asked me about
plenty of room here, April. Welcome to the show. We're chatting Laphroaig. I don't know if you're a peated Scotch fan, but let us know in the chat. What are your favorite Laphroaigs?
And even if you're not, if you're more into other things, both Eric and I do lots of reviews on all sorts of different types of Scotch. So check both channels out and subscribe. Thumbs up if you haven't already. He was asking me about my top 5 Laphroaigs, and it's like asking who your favorite, uncles and aunts are, which is not an easy thing. But and I'm not like solely stuck to the core. I can go outside the core, right, Eric?
You can do whatever you want, man.
Okay. Man, the top Laphroaig for me, and if I'm sticking to the bottles I own, I will say the 18 is right up there with most. If I'm going with everything I've ever tasted, I was lucky enough to have a 30-year-old once, and that was something special. That was pretty darn good. This was at an expo, though, and expo tastings are not the best place to really fully experience a whiskey. It's a good place to get an idea if you think you want to at least kind of buy or invest in a bottle. But as far as like getting notes and going through all the nuances with the water and all that and taking your time, of course it's really hard to do that at an expo. So with that said, I'm going to stick, I think, with the 18 is pretty up there, but honestly, right next to it, or at a really close second, and a lot of people haven't had a chance to taste this one, is the Anclemore. Anclemore is a really nice bottle.
Okay.
It's tough to find now. I was lucky when I first started my Scotch journey.
I thought you were going to say the 4 Oak, bro.
Oh no! Now we'll talk about our least favorite 5 in a second.
How about our least favorite 4? Because it's going to be the same one for all 4.
We'll have to see. We'll see, but definitely, the 18 and the Anclemore is a very close second. And the Anclemore actually might be a little. It depends on my mood. The Anclemore has more power to it as far as the peat and smoke. And the Anclemore has like a peanut brittle hazelnut thing going on that you don't get from other Laphroaigs. So if you like peanut brittle, you like hazelnut, you like the peat smoke with the antiseptic. If that sounds intriguing, you got to get a bottle of the Anclemore because it's all that rolled up into one. It's tough because it's travel retail, I think. Usually you can order it overseas if you're lucky to get shipments in, so keep that in mind. Another one, but see, then I missed the 2013 Cairdeas, man. This is tough. That 2013 Cairdeas, man, was no joke for me. That's going to be I might have to go back. Okay, one is going to be the Portwood 2013 Cairdeas. That was the best Laphroaig I think I've ever tasted. Second's going to be the 18. Third's going to be the Anclemore. All right, fourth is going to be, man. See, it's funny, when I first tasted the 15, I was going to put it up there, but now coming back to it, I don't appreciate it as much as I liked it when I very first had it. So it's not going to be in the top 5 anymore. But I think I will go with, I really like that Pheno, man. This is so tough. And the Triple Wood Cairdeas was really damn good too. It's kind of like a toss up between those, but the straight up Cask Strength 10 is a glorious whiskey. Man, this is so tough. Okay, all right. we're gonna sorry to I don't want to take everyone's
No,
time.
no. This is what makes it fun.
All right, we're gonna do Cairdeas 2013 port. We're gonna do the 18, the Aquamore, the 10 cast strength, and we're gonna finish it out with, man, I haven't even got to the lore yet, but that triple wood cast strength I think I'm gonna put in as my 5. And the lore is like a really close 6. If you're gonna force me to pick a 6. But that's kind of like those are the top ones for me, at least. And I do love the PX cast, the QA cast. I like all those a lot. They're just not quite enough to get up in the top 5 for me on taste wise. What about you, man?
Top 5. Oh boy. After tonight, it's really difficult because I did record a video, like I said, for folks who haven't seen it. I have a top 5 Laphroaig video on my channel, and I'm going to reveal it now, but you should still go look at it. And smash that thumbs up, by the way, on that and on this. 5, Laphroaig lore. 4, Laphroaig Cairdeas 2017 quarter cask, but I am hedging between this 2015 because I hadn't had it in a while, and goddamn, this is good. But I'll stick with it. Number 4 is the Cairdeas quarter cask. Number 3 is the Laphroaig 25. Now, the Laphroaig 25 changes considerably in its maturation and ABV over the years. The one I had was an ex-bourbon ex-sherry 2016, 44.4%. Stunningly good. Number 2, I got to go Laphroaig 18. I like the 18 better than the 25, and there's a reason for that. Well, the 25 brings a lot of nuance and interesting notes. I feel like the 18 is the perfect equilibrium of Laphroaig's peat smoke, its medicinal hospital note qualities, but also brings the complexity. And this could be white tube or green tube. I just think it just grabs the essence of Laphroaig in a way that no other whiskey does. However, the sad thing about it is that it's discontinued. And that's why it can't be number 1 for me. My number 1 Laphroaig 10 cast strength.
Nice, yeah.
And yeah, no matter what the batch, this is why I love Laphroaig 10 cast strength, and this is why it's my number 1. First and foremost, it's always cast strength, so it punches you in the face, which is what I love about a Laphroaig. Number 2 is the price, which is usually between $75 to $85, which is criminally cheap these days. Number 3, no matter what the batch variation is, it is always consistently good, yet you get a variety every year. So like I loved the 10 more than I loved the 11. I loved the 6 the 5 way more than I loved the 7. But you always get something different. It brings out the like uncut, unfiltered essence of what a Laphroaig can be at 10 years. And for a heavily peated Islay whiskey, younger the better for the most part, to a degree. And I think 10 years is a perfect spot. Laphroaig 10 cast strength is my bee's knees. If you're going to pour me one Laphroaig, give me the cast strength. Let's do it. That's my number 1.
That's a good one, man. That's the tough thing about Laphroaig. They're all so damn good. I wanted to answer something I'd actually tell April something. She was talking about Octomore always lists the such a high ppm for me, but she doesn't translate to the palate. But one thing to keep in mind, April, is that when you're talking about peat and smoke, they're 2 totally different things. And so when you're thinking of the ppm, it's not really the smokiness factor, it's the bite of the actual peat essence that you get. So the Uigeadail, for example, is a very smoky whiskey, And yeah, it might be like a ppm level of like 40 or 45, but it's not like 160 or 200 like some of these octomores.
Right.
And you really, I mean, I know it's hard to discern, but the bite initial like delivery of the whiskey is what you usually notice on the octomore. To me, more than the actual smokiness itself. Even though there is smoke to it, it's a little different with that. But
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, like, I think you and I have went back and forth on this ppm thing. I think the ppm thing is the human palate, I'm not sure, can taste beyond 45, 50 ppm. And so, like, the octomore thing is the thing about octomore. This is the thing about octomore.
I would blind taste you, and I bet you'll taste the difference. So we got to do that
That might
sometime.
be true, but here's what I want to say. I know you and I disagree on this, and we should do it sometime for sure. But here's what I want to say about octomore. The true magic of what Bruichladdich is doing with octomore is not its heavily peatedness. It's the fact that they're making such incredible whiskeys in 5-year maturations. It's the fact that like, there's like literally young ass whiskey that is tasting like way older whiskey because of their cask quality. And that's
Exactly.
the part that I think is so intriguing about them. And we should do an Octomore show sooner than later. We really should. I realize we haven't done it.
we actually agree on that aspect. I do think that what makes Octomore special are the .2 releases, because that's when they get into their creative cast, like the French Syrah or the one that tastes like durian fruit, the 7.3
Bordeaux red wine, the Sauternes. Yeah,
exactly. That's, I think, the magic of Bruichladdich is not. And it's funny. Like, I do think you'll notice. Like, if I blind tasted you and put like a 169, a 220, and a 40, I bet you could tell the difference. But I will agree that the magic of what makes it taste so damn good and be so special are those casks. It's kind of like with Ardbeg. With some of their casks that they use are just magical.
Yeah. No,
Do you
that's
have
a good point. That's a good point.
Yep. Do you have a favorite a cast strength out of the Laphroaig tins that you were talking about? He was saying that the 6 and
I do.
8.
I love the Laphroaig tin cast strength batch 3, and I love the Laphroaig cast strength batch 10. I love both of those. I love the batch 10. I don't understand why it hits on all cylinders for me. The 3 is obviously very difficult to get these days. I think it has a more roundedness. Like, some of them are very heavily peat and aggressive forward. Some of them are much more meaty. I think about batch 7, for example, which is a favorite of a lot of people. It's a very, like, again, we were talking earlier about things like, this is kind of like Morlock, like it's kind of like that meaty, mouth-watering flavor to it. I personally like the more aggressive peat smoked versions. So like batch 10, I'll be honest, I love batch 10. Love batch 10.
I remember you gave me a sample of that, and I really did like it. I liked 10 a lot. I had it. My bottle was the 8 from 2016, and memorably, it was damn good. I'm not sure if it was any better or worse than some of the other ones, but the 10 that you did send was really good. And I think I want to say that Stephen Connor sent an early batch that was really damn good. I can't remember the exact number on it, but man, it was pretty good.
Speaking of, what do we? I got to sign off in a few minutes here, but
yeah,
would love. Yeah, let's. We got a couple of good shows coming up, so you want to plug them?
Tell them about the next one's going to be that Fukano and the
next week we're going into some really interesting Japanese whiskeys. In the first hour, we're doing the EY 45. Very accessible, very modestly priced, quite delicious, if you ask me. And then in hour number 2, we're doing a single cask from Fukano. It is a 12-year-old. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then May 18th, it's Deanston Virgin Oak and Deanston 17 Organic PX Finish.
Have you already tried the Virgin Oak before?
I have, but it was so long ago, my friend, I couldn't quite remember.
Well, the good news is I think it'll bring back good memories because, man, I tell you what, for a daily sipper, it's going to look like, I think, a fun one to do.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be good. Yeah, and then to round out May, we have Compass Box. We got a Compass Box show at the end of the month. We're doing Compass Box Spice Tree Extravaganza, and then we are doing the latest heavily peated release from Compass Box. We're doing the Peat Monster Arcana. So we got some good shows coming up in May. If you've yet to subscribe to Telex the Whiskey Tech, and if you are into doing a little happy hour beforehand, subscribe to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. We're going to have great content going in. This is we're well into our second year now, Telex. We started this during COVID, and we're gonna keep it going. So we got a bunch of good stuff happening, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all these. We'll have to break out that mezcal. We'll have to break out that mezcal sometime too.
We're definitely going to have to bring out the mezcal. Yeah,
that's going to be a fun something that I never tried. I love tequila. I've tried all of the. I mean, I've done everything from brandy to gin, of course, vodka. I like all of it, but I've never done a mezcal, so this should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I've been into it for a while. I got a couple good bottles, and I gave you. Yeah, I think I gave you a good intro. A good bottle. I gave him for the mezcal fans out there. I poured him a Pachuga, so a little fruitiness. Telex is a big fan of the sherries and stuff like that, so I think it'll meet his palate well. All right, Telex. I got to sign off, my friend. As you can see, I'm living in for the next 2 weeks. All my stuff is en route to Chicago, so I gotta set up a place to sleep tonight, actually.
Oh man,
well, it'll be fine. It's all temporary.
I wish you luck in your trip. If I don't talk to you beforehand,
let me know. We'll be on next week. I'm not leaving until the 15th. So
gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I feel bad for you trying to bare bones it this long, though.
No, man, it's gonna be fine, man. It ain't the first time. It won't be the last.
I hear you. I'm
be well, man. And peace to everybody, man. I hope everybody stays safe. Be well. Much love to everyone.
See you later for now, man. Wow, this is going to be a crazy move for Eric. Hopefully, it works out okay. I would be nervous having to move across the country, and then I used to move a bit here and there, but that was a long time ago. I don't think I could do it much anymore. What are you guys sipping tonight, just out of curiosity? Let me go back and catch up with some comments here. I think I saw Whiskey Throttle pop in. Muser always leaves when I show up. That's not you, man. Now, he usually right at about 11 o'clock. He's usually ready to roll. Sometimes I'd also kill it about then, but there's a lot of you guys still on the channel, and I really appreciate it. So I thought I would. Just see how things were going, and maybe have a drink with you guys, see what's going on. We're having some Laphroaig tonight, but I'm up for talking any distillery. I'm looking actually for a couple new bottles. I'm trying to get my hands on a Blair Athol 23, and I'd like to get my hands on man, so many options out there. I've been trying to find places that ship to Maryland. It's not the easiest thing in the world either, but I've got my eyes on a good Bladnoch 25 is going to be one. Has anybody done Bladnoch, and what do you think of the Lowland Distillery? I personally love the Adela 15. Liked it enough where I'm actually thinking of skipping a 17 and maybe going for their 25 Talia. Has anyone ever tried it, and was it worth the crazy price they went for it? I'm just curious. Japanese whiskey is the best whiskey book I've read. Wow. Dave Broom. I'll have to keep that in mind. I'm always up for reading about any whiskey that if it's written pretty well. Drinking a 10-year cask strength batch 7 right now. Tasty one. Yeah, I was looking up to have that 8, and that was back in like 2016. So you're probably going 2015 on that one there, Steven. I bet that is damn good. Daniel, hello. A friend called me last night. Got a donkey for a client. A 4-year-old donkey. Oh man. Best pour tonight is a Compass Box. What do you? Which Compass Box are you sipping there, James? Out of curiosity. Lucky to try those. That every is only 40%, but fantastic. Wow. For Steven to like a 40% whiskey, man, it must be damn good because I know you usually stick to like the higher ABV ones. So I've never heard of the Avery, so I'm going to see what the hell that's about. 18-year, almost completely out of the 10 cast strength. Yeah, I don't blame you there. I'm trying to think of, do I want a little something different maybe? Hmm. You better drink from the bottle. I don't know, man. If it's nearly that, I don't think the train has come off the rails far enough for that quite yet. We might get there though. I have that book too. It's nice picks and very neo zen. Cool. You punk rock fans. Oh, Delilah. Yeah, I remember that. What is that from? Is that a? Oh man, such a sweet PD pour. Wow, I'm way behind. Let me skip up ahead a little bit here. Sorry, guys. Building my own food quick wall. It wasn't intentional. The funny thing was I got some bookshelves, and the funny thing is you guys can only see half of these. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelves down the other way that are full practically of stuff. And when I started kind of filling things out, it's really hard to fit everything in the shelf because some whiskeys fit better than others depending on the how the distance is and how long the bottles are. Like the Adnoc 24 is huge. That one sitting back here, it's it's just nicely on the top of the Parliament. But you got to be careful how you arrange these. And I started out with the Isla Wall, and then it became like a Campbelltown hybrid, and now I'm getting into some of the really aged older whiskeys on the bottom here, and I was just trying to figure out where to put them. This kind of a thing. Food Quick's got a great channel though. Check him out if you're not familiar with Food Quick. He's in Victoria, British Columbia. His hours are a little earlier, but he's on all night long usually. So definitely check him out. Metalhead for life. Metallica is soft. We need some Exodus up in here, man. I need some like Paul Bailoff, like from '83, like Bonded in Blood kind of stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Glen Scotia Tea and Peated now. That's a great choice, man. I haven't tried that. I would love to get my teeth on that. Northern Soul. Great there. Loyal. Yeah, it's really over. That's the problem. I was trying to find a decent price for it, man, and it's a problem. I'm gonna have to probably pay it though to get it because it was a 2016 Diageo special release. Really like the Black Knot 10. Well, if you like the Black Knot 10, I really like the 15. I'm thinking the 25 might be worth the price. He likes the 10, great for especially for the price too. How expensive is the Black Knock in your area? Well, I've got my eye on the 25, which you can get for 400. So I'm thinking that might be worth a piece, but there's a 16 and 20 I've tasted. He's probably talking about a different bottle than that one, though. The Abanas, yeah, the 65. Oh, that's a great. I think that's a good one still. I remember the 50s had this really nice clove finish you get from it. And when I got to the 68, it was starting to fade and I didn't have my clove cigarettes anymore and I was kind of pissed. So if you like the cloves, you might have to get it with the 50. Did you get any cloves off that one, Ben, on the finish and the nose? I'm just curious because I really thought that was pretty nice and heavy on some of those earlier 50s to 60s area batches. They're probably in the 80s right now. It's been so long since I've looked for one. A Chieftain 13 cast strength. Which distillery? Chieftain's, I'm familiar with the independent bottle 13-year cast strength, but who's the distillery? I'm just curious. I don't know how you have my attention. Yeah. I'm looking for a Bladnock 25. I think I might pull the trigger on next. So keep your eyes peeled on this space because I will try to pick out and do that one. He's always writing a new book or whiskey rum. The rum book is from 2017. Okay. A writing machine. I'll have to remember that guy. Just got home from work. Poured me some rare breed brine. Oh, from Hawaii. Good to see you there, one. New to Scotch Try Macallan 12. That's fine, man. That's where a lot of people get their start is with either Macallan 12 is a great start. If you are already into sherry, if you're not already into sherry, you got to be careful with that because it's even though it's not heavy sherry, it does have a distinct, full, sweet kind of a taste to it. with the Macallan 12, I liked it as soon as I tasted it. Um, Not the best one I've had. I mean, sherry wise, I do also like the Glendronach 12. If you do like the Macallan 12, I definitely suggest getting your hands on the Glendronach 12 before they switch and go chill filtration and lower ABV and all that. If you can get a Glendronach 12 now for under 70, 65, it might be worth a pickup. Um, if you like peat, I would definitely recommend the Ugadal from Ardbeg. But oh man, and definitely skip the Abelauer 12 by any means. I would say on that one. Check out the rum book on that one. Cowboys in North Texas. A 39-year-old Armagnac. Wow, man, that's. I never tried one. I need to step up and try one. I've had cognac before, but not Armagnac. I know it's kind of the new thing next to mezcal that's kind of going pretty well. Aloha, yes. 65 is the only one I've had, and it's all dark fruit mostly. Anything on the any close on the finish or the end of the nose? I'm just curious. Oh, a Laphroaig Chieftain, gotcha. 13 year, sorry. What do you think about that one? Is it worth the pickup, or are you happy, or do you have buyer's remorse? Just curious, because I was lucky enough to find at Ardbeg Chieftains, which Ardbeg does not do very many in independent bottlings. They don't do very many, and to find that was a good find. But I've heard mixed things about some Chieftains being good, some of them not as much. Probably based on distillery, it probably makes a huge difference with that too. But I'm curious what you think about that 13 Laphroaig there. Hard to say. Most likely come from all small areas. Yeah. Oh, I just got on that. 3 bottles. Wow. Okay. Did you ever try the Ardbeg version from Chieftain, and did you like that one as well? You need to try for some of the Armagnac from SMWS. Yeah, I kind of got it not really away from the SMWS thing. I only stopped because the shipping costs were just you just needed to buy a lot from them to make it like worth the while. And I'm still actually trying to collect distillery bottles first. I am going to go into the independent market heavily after I get all my distillery bottles. So that's the plan. I still have some work to do though. Like Ardmore is one. I'd love to get my hand on like an Orthros 25. That Blair Athol 23 would be great. I need to get a Ben Nevis at some point. Um, the Royal Brockla 21, you can get it for like, $270. It's a bit pricey for what I hear. Probably not worth it. I need to get a Kalila 25 at some point. That would be awesome. And I can go through all of them, but there's a bunch. I mean, there's a good 40, 50, at least 40. If I get into all the newer distilleries, it's going to be pretty crazy. Let me go back here. Sorry, man. Of course it's real. Oh, good to see you, Samuel. Pretty decent, man. How are you doing? What are you sipping tonight? Hopefully something really good. The Laphroaig Chieftain, but not Ardbeg. I love the Highland Park, though. Did you like the Laphroaig Chieftain version, too? I'm just curious. I actually can't see his comments. No, he's not blacklisted. His comments are right here. He just posted Holland. I just saw him earlier. What's up with the Cowboys in North Texas? So that was a bit earlier. Oh, there he is. I saw the rodeo and had a laugh. Now he's still around, so should be there. I do love coming back to this Cairdeas. I think I might pour something different. Just a little. Just a little. Man, we got a lot of shows to do back here. I'm gonna have something new. Thinking here. I will be right back with a surprise. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I am going to end it with a little something, kind of a sneak preview. This is a bottle you should pick up if you haven't. I think it's a new bottle, Torvig 2017 Isle of Skye. It's an Islands distillery. This is a heavily peated single malt, 55 to 60 ppm, and I just popped it open fairly recently, as you can tell. 46%. It's maybe not too shabby for a new distillery. Let's get a different glass here. Has anybody tried the new Torvig, and what did you think? I've heard great things about the price and the quality. Big pour because it's 46%. Oh, man. I'm excited about a lot of these new distilleries. Let's talk about some of those maybe while we're kicking around. I have my eyes, like I said, on all of these distillery bottles, and there's a lot of new guys coming to the block, and I was going to ask you guys if you've heard of some of these and what were your takes, and I'll tell you what some of the ones I've tried and what I thought about them, and we'll go just in alphabetical order so we don't miss anybody. Looks like oh, you're sipping on the Aaron 18. That is great. I've heard great things. Have you tried the 21, and do you like the 18 better than the 21? That's my homework question for you there, Sam. The liquid antiquarian. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, so let's talk about some new distilleries. Are you guys familiar with a new one? It's a lowland called, I believe it's pronounced Ebargie, Aberragie. It's owned by the Perth Distilling Company. Sorry. A lowland distillery. And I'm trying to see if there's any other Perth ownership going on, because I do have a nice cheat sheet where I put in all the ownerships. And I'm just trying to see if this is a completely brand new owner to the world of Scotch, or if they've been around. I don't see any other ownership by them on other distilleries. I believe that they are new to the field. They're probably a ways away from creating this distillate, so I'm not sure if they're ultra new, but just curious if you guys have tried it. Torvig is a good one. I've had a bottle. I don't think it is heavily peated though. That ppm is pre-distilling or something. I forgot the details finally. Yeah, it is. It is a bit less. This goes from, well, I'm going by. I'm not giving a review just yet. We are going to take a really heavily close review on this in the future. But it goes from 55 to 60 down to 16 residual phenol levels of 16, but 16 is I would not consider that heavily peated. That's more of like a 30 to 40 plus. 50 to 60 would be. I'm not sure why they bother putting both levels on it, if it makes a difference with maybe the interaction with the way it interacts with the barley and the yeast and the bourbon barrels. I'm not sure, but there's got to be a method to the madness, you would think. But I'll talk about at least how peaty I think it is here in a second. I haven't had a sip in a long while. 2 to 3 people in the whiskey community that everyone else can chat with them. But that's interesting. I'm not sure why that would be. Haven't had the 21 yet. Love the 18. Okay. If you love the 18, definitely give the 21 a try. I don't think you would be disappointed. Can't guarantee you'll love it more than the 18, but I think you'll at least like it as much. I would be surprised if you didn't, because the Aaron 21 was my whiskey of the year last year. That's how good it was to me, the new one. Make sure it's the new Aaron 21, not an older version. I've heard the older versions are good too, but just keep that in mind. We're talking about Dave Broom still. Yeah, unless someone's blocked you, you're not going to really. I don't think it would be affected. I don't know why someone would block you though, unless you said something to them. But Ben doesn't usually say anything derogatory or anything crazy. So the Savvy channel is good, very good for running some whiskey. Okay, well, I guess no one else besides Andrew has tried that Torveg. I was just curious, and no one's ever heard of the Eberargi, I should say. Let's talk Avondurg, Abhaindearg. Has anyone else had the Avondurg? I've been, unfortunately, uh, a taster of their product. Now, they have two that I'm aware of. The first was the 3-year inaugural, which I did have. They have a new 10-year that they have released. I will say that the 3-year for me was abysmally horrible. We're talking like 0.75. Not even a full 1 star out of 5 on the Avondurg 3-year. I would love to try the 10-year. Has anyone else had the Avondurg? I'm just curious. I'm going to type it out so you guys can actually see. Anyone else had the Avondurg? Any bottling at all? I don't care, like if it's 3 or 10 or something else. Any cask maturations? Anyone had the Avondurg? It's more of a Avondurg, I should say. I got to practice my Scottish Gaelic more. Probably not. That is something that you will not run across unless you are into new Scotch distilleries, like I am with some of my buddies that we were doing the rounds of the tour of all distilleries of Scotland. And I've had a lot of these we're about to talk about, but I don't think anyone has tried it. We'll skip the 3-year. If you do find the 10, I'm very eager to see what you think of their 10-year release. Altavania. Now, Altavania is not necessarily a new distillery, but they are new to having a distillery bottle. They released one. I thought it was okay. I gave it like a 3.2 out of, 3.25 out of 5. It was slightly above average. It had some peat to it, which made it interesting. As a Speyside, it was kind of strange. That's I forgot to say, Avondurg is an independent ownership. They're completely separate. Altavania is Pernod Ricard owns them. It's okay. It's one of those where I would probably wait to see if it's worth it. Do you typically only buy official bottlings, indie, or is it where it's at, man? Well, it's where I want to see the best at what the distillery can offer me first before going to indies. I have had lots of independent bottlings. I've bought my own independent bottlings. I've been burned on some. I've liked a lot, some of them. It's hit or miss, just like with distillery bottles to me. But I have not really done a lot of the ones that I know now after trying a bunch of different ones. Like the classic casks ones are not that good. I'm not a big fan of those. I'm not a big fan of the I've had hit and misses on Alexander Murray. There's some that are good, some that are not so good. Same with the Gordon MacPhails. I've had hit and misses. It seems like if you're going to get independent bottlings, Adelphi is a great one. I've never had a bad Adelphi. That Tiki Whiskey Company does a pretty good job. Sanatori does a good job. So I'm just kind of, learning as I go. But that is on the distant menu. After I do some more distillery bottlings, we're going to look at more independent bottlings. So that is coming. We'll put it that way. Never heard of Avondurg. Just looked it up. Isle of Lewis. So it's another island Scotch. Yes, it is another new island Scotch. There's a 3 and a 10-year. Definitely do not waste any money on the 3. If you get the 10, I'm eager just to know what you like, think about it. I cannot vouch that it's going to be any good though, because the 3 was absolutely horrible. All right, moving on. Altavania though, worth a look if you like peated whiskey, especially if you're looking for something different. It's Speyside, so it's not typical peated whiskey. It's a bit different. 3.25 for me on that one. The Elsa Bay. Always want to say Elisa for some reason. The Elsa Bay, located in Girvan. It's owned by the William Grant and Sons Company, a lowland distillery, new one. These guys are pretty interesting. I do love the inaugural release. I gave it like a 3.5, 3.75 area. Um, that was the first inaugural. They have a 1.2, which is more of like what they call a sweet smoke. To me, it's too engineered. They're trying to do not just the ppm for peat. They're doing this SPPM for sweet parts per million and all that, and the sweet phenols and all that. I don't know. It's a bit engineered for me. I didn't enjoy the taste as much as I did the inaugural release. So the 1.2 only got like a 3.25 ish. The Alta Vanya I gave it 3, actually. It was kind of just average. The Elsa Bay, even the sweet smoke was a 3.25. The inaugural release, though, was more closer towards the 3.75 or a 4. It was actually pretty damn good. Anyone else like the Elsa Bay? Has anyone had any of their stuff, liked it, hated it? Any feeling on it? Just curious. We got Annandale. Annandale is another lowland. That's where the Johnstons, my last name, that's where they come from, is in the Annandale region. I'm looking forward to trying something from them. I haven't seen any Scotch, but I know they are doing other spirits at the moment, at least. If it wasn't for any bottlings, it wouldn't be modern Laphroaig. Wow, man, I'm surprised you could find enough independent bottlings of that. But yeah, you got to get the 10 cast strength in the Cairdeas. Come on, man. If they get better than this port and wine, I was not happy with that port and wine release. I will be, completely honest with you. That was kind of a letdown. But I'm very excited about that new Cairdeas PX. Arbiki, Highland Distillery, new. I haven't heard anything from those. Isla, Ardnaho, looking forward to the new make. I've heard great things. I had a friend that actually got a chance to taste their new make, said it was top notch, and I do trust his palate. So Ardnaho, I'm very much looking forward to a bottle of that at some point soon. Adelphi, we were talking about, the independent bottler has got a new distillery going called Ardmaturin, and I have been lucky enough to have a couple of their bottles. They were noted as being spirits because they were young. You had to be at least 3 years to be an actual Scotch. But even their 2 and 3 year stuff was actually pretty intriguing, surprisingly. So I'm really looking forward to see what they do with some age. Ardmaturin. Has anyone had any Ardmaturin? I'm just curious. Yeah, I know, man. It's weird. I felt that about the as far as the I was a much bigger fan of the triple wood Cairdeas and the Fino Cairdeas rather than the port and wine or the quarter. But I stick with my port wine from 2013. That is the best thing ever touched. I think. Yeah, we're coming to Dornoch here soon. But we're still in the A's. Ardmaturin. Has anyone had any Ardmaturin? I would recommend a bottle if you can find it for a really, decent price. Valendalic, I haven't seen anything. They're independent. That's a space side. Barra, a new island distillery. Haven't seen anything other than that. Man, I might have seen something from them, but a lot of these are not really out yet. Borders. It's going to be a lowland. Brewdog, it's going to be a highland. Clydeside, it's going to be a lowland. Daft Mill, I have a bottle of. We'll be doing a review of that one soon. The winter release from 2007. It's 12 year. So Daft Mill's got a 12 year that's available that I'm looking forward to getting more into. D-Side, new highland. Dornoch, the new highland. That's the one that Cohen was talking about. 3 year this year. That'll be nice just to see what they can produce. Second release, really like it because it's a lot different than LP whiskeys in the moment. Had samples of the first, would like a bottle. Yeah, I think I do like it because it is different. I will agree with you that the sweetness of it with the peat is interesting. I have to get more used to it. Linder's Abbey will be decent new make. Just released their first batch to Club for it. Okay, yeah, they're on my list. They're an independent distillery. looking forward to. Didn't know there was a club that I guess that's the UK things. I know James is in the UK. So see, there's stuff that you can get that we can't get. So there you go. Are you in the club, and do you have access to any of that stuff? Because I'm curious to see what you think of it with that absurd granite bottle topper. Talking about the Elisa Bay thing, yeah. Interesting. Amontillado 14 is, ooh, yeah, that's a great one. I actually saw a place that still had a bottle of that, believe it or not, Steve, in California, of all places. Recently, like very recently, was surprising. It makes me wonder, though, it could be like a mislabel. But I was lucky enough to get mine from California. That's the only reason I had my own bottle of that was going through the rounds and doing some research, and got lucky to take a chance. And I even called the place up, like, hey, could you go make sure that Cairdeas has a yellow goldenrod color at the bottom, before you sell it to me? And sure enough, it was the right one. So thank God. But always have them check, because after I bought it, I told Mr. Lee to buy it, and Mr. Lee bought it, but he got the 2015 version instead. So appreciate the comments, Don. Thanks so much for stopping by, man. Yeah, he's definitely now. It's 500 pounds. Ooh, for a few giveaways, first choice of 2%. That's not worth that, man. That's crazy money there. They're looking for some like investments from you guys, it sounds like. That's crazy. But yeah, a lot of these Eden Mill. I've been lucky enough to have some SMWS stuff from, and it was a 3-year. It was really good. So I'm looking forward to some stuff by those guys. Glasgow, Lowland, it's independent, never tried or heard. Glenvias, Harris, same thing. It was a Highland and then an island. Holyrood, never heard of it. Lowland in Edinburgh. Inchdarney, I've heard of them, but I haven't seen anything from them. Kingsbarns, no, that's one I've actually tasted. Kingsbarns is pretty good. It's the Vemus, WEMYSS Malts is the ownership. It's a Lowlands distillery, a new one. Kingsbarns is worth a look, I'd say, just to see what you think. Has anyone had the Kingsbarns? Just curious what you thought of it. Yeah, it is pretty good mead. I would suggest, if you could find it under 140, I would go for it. Mine was 150, and I'm kind of like, man, I don't have buyer's remorse, but I wish it was a little cheaper. It should be like 120, to be honest with you. Um, I went ahead and pulled the trigger because it was like May, it was like April when I got it, so I was lucky enough to get it pretty early. But I think it's worth a definite look if you like the Dark Cove Kelpie Black, that type of thing. I go for it. If it's definitely hell of a lot better than the Drum and the Ardbeg Rye by far. I'd say it's more kind of in between a Dark Cove and a Kelpie-ish type of release as far as quality. Lag's another distillery that is new, and they're owned by Aaron. So this is going to be really interesting to see what Lag does, LAGG. So keep an eye on those guys. Yeah, I love Dark Cove, like Kelby didn't like back. Yeah, that's the tough thing, man. I know a lot of you guys were getting a lot of that younger whiskey out of the black, and too much, I guess, for your liking. I don't know. I think it's more. Got the fruit of the black for the scorch, but the char of the grooves. So if you can picture the char of the grooves with the raspberry, strawberry, peat smoke, but peaty. The thing that I think maybe lost it for some people with the black wasn't as peat smoky as maybe people wanted it to be. The scorch definitely has more peat smoke involved with it, with the fruit and the other things, with this like terry rope thing going on. Check out my review if you want to get more in depth, but I think it's worth a look. Definitely if you can get a taste, but It's your turn to do that. My bottle first the last 2 years. There you go, man. Definitely don't. Yeah, don't get suckered into that mess. No, but on a serious note, I think if you get it, if you could find it, one bottle, I think it's worth the gamble. But yeah, maybe Mo will pull the trigger if you're lucky. How does it compare to the Supernova? Well, man, that's like which version of the Supernova? Like I've been lucky enough to have my own bottle of the 2009 first Stellar release. That is a unicorn crystallized 5 out of 5, great, perfect, wouldn't change anything about it kind of bottle. Is it as good as that? No. Is it as good as the 2015, 2016, or the newest one? I don't know because I haven't tried it. I think I was lucky enough to try a sample of the 2015 or 16 though. It might even have been from Steven. I can't remember if I got the Supernova from one of the versions from him or not, but it's been a while. But as far as the profile of a Supernova, that to me is more of like an in your face with like has more of like the power of like there's like a lot more spiced peppery things, kind of like a Corey-Vrecken with the Supernova. It has more of like a punch factor. The Scorch to me is it's powerful as far as the char and the smoke, but the fruit and the balance from like the barley, it feels more like a hazel burn that's heavily peat, like a Springbank without the funk. It's got the if you can picture like a local barley from Springbank, but with Ardbeg peat and a lot of fruit in it. That's what the Scorch is. It's hard to really put into words. Someone had the Glasgow 1770. That's must be the new. That's the new distillery independent I was mentioning. I have not, but I would love to get a sample of that. That's one of the newer ones. You probably were really lucky to get your hands on that. Levin, I haven't really heard anything. That's a Diageo, new Diageo Lowland distillery. It's called Levin. If anyone hears anything from them, I would be curious. With it being from Diageo, you think it'd be all in our faces already, but I haven't heard a peep. They also have another one called Rosile that Diageo picked up. It's a Speyside distillery. I haven't heard anything really out of. The Nicean one I'm curious of, the NC apostrophe NEAN. They do organic. They're really big into like completely being like an organic type of distillery. It's a Highland. They have lots of really nice, pretty bottles coming out. So I'm curious to see what has anyone try the NC, probably butchering the pronunciation. I think it's like Nicean organic stuff. I'm just curious. Anyone try that one? I'll have to look for that Glasgow. I'm curious. 50 CL, 46 ABV. Interesting. Huh. Never seen the 70 CL. Rum Rum is the title. Always talking about the probably another book from Dave. I'll have to check him out though. Race, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It's a island distillery that's new. I have seen them have advertised bottles. It's an island distillery. Olive Race, R&B Distillers is the ownership. Not sure if it's any good though. Has anybody had or the Race? I'm just curious if anyone's ever had any of this stuff. The only three left are the Strathairn, which is going to be a Douglas Lang Highland. I think it's like Strathairn. That's a new one I haven't heard a peep from. I'm eager to see. The Torvig, which we've talked about. This is Mossburn Distillers, is the ownership of this guy. And let's have a little. It's been sitting out for so long, I'm probably lost all my peat. I get it on the nose though, definitely. It's very light in color, but I mean, I'm definitely expecting that from a new non-colored. This is also I think not chill filtered at all. Not sure if they say on this guy. I would hope not. Yeah, no chill filtration and no coloring. Perfect. I love the presentation. Even if it's light, hey, this is what you expect a new, this is what a brand new distillery juice should look like. This is what you should expect. Yeah, the ppm you could definitely tell has been is lower than the 50, 55. It's almost like false advertising when they do it. It drop down so much from going from 55 to 60 down to what was it, 16. 16 is like between, like a Bunnahabhain has like a 2 to 3 ppm. Is extremely light if there's any peat at all on some of their releases. So take that into account. That's like 2 or 3. And then, the Ardbegs and Laphroaigs are around 30 to 40. This one's a 15. So it kind of sits in between. Not as low as like a Blazda from Ardbeg. Not as low as that, but not as high as some of your regular Ardbeg 10, Laphroaig 10 peat. So that part makes it a little interesting where it kind of is in between. I love the ABV on this. It actually sets up pretty well. It's fairly viscous, probably because it's 46, with it being so new and all that. But it holds its shape pretty well. I'm not giving a full review or anything yet, but I'm just kind of. Yeah, I think it's for the being in 2017 and only being a few years. That is something special. That delivery is nice, and the finish is pretty good. So I'm curious what you guys think. Curious to try that and seeing. The reviews I've read haven't been all that high on it. Yeah, same here, Mead. I'm kind of wondering if it's worth a gamble. But I'm always kind of eager. I'm always eager enough. If as long as it's under $100 to get a bottle, then I'm definitely more keen to give it a good college try. But when you get to the DAF meals and some of these crazy prices on some of these new distilleries, I mean, thank God it's a 12-year, but 225 to 240 for a 12-year whiskey, man, it better be damn good. No to both on the Race and Nisian. Okay. Cheers to old Don Holland there. Kilkerran 12 is very good. It is one of my favorite whiskeys. I love the craft in that. Try Aquavite Roy was all a Twitter about the Nisian and their ethos. In a good way or a bad way? James, I'm just curious. You could do a bottle split. There you go. Don the Beachcomber documentary is coming out. The Godfather of Rum and Tiki. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the Daft Mill is great. That's true. And this is the reason. Like when my buddy Tom from Petite Cellars, we chat. I usually get something on a monthly basis, and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for some new distillery stuff. What do you guys got? And this is when he gave me the Daft Mill and the Torvig. He's like, I do have some winter 2007. It's gonna go by fast. I can hold a bottle for you. I'm like, yeah, I was lucky enough to taste the 2006 version, and it was a winter release, and I did enjoy it. But all right, I mean that price makes it tough, man. But that's true. You're a damn genius. I think he's talking about the bottle split thing. Yeah, that's the way you should do it in that, man. I'm really looking forward to some older Torvegs. I really like this 3-year-old sharing an island with Talisker. How do you think it compares? That's a good. This is perfect because this way I can enjoy it, give you guys some notes without doing a review. I can do a comparison with this and like a Talisker 10, right? So going back from previous knowledge on the, what I got from a Talisker 10. The first thing that I remember was, well, the first three things I remember from the Talisker 10 were not in any order, but all three were intense. You got your brininess factor, which is like your saltiness, seaweed kind of thing going on. Then you also have the maritime factor. You get your seashells, your earthiness, more vegetal properties. And then with Talisker, beautiful Talisker 10, you get the combination of white and black pepper, which I adore. I know some people aren't into it as much, but for me, the Talisker 10 is, God bless, beautiful. It's one of my favorite whiskeys. With that said, let's go in and see if we get any of those types of notes off of this guy. You do get a brininess on the nose. What makes this different to me than a Talisker, though, I'm able to, and it's probably because it's younger, and it may be because it's like a newer make, but I'm getting more fruit and also like a almost like a cough syrup lozenge kind of note going on, but not in a bad way, like a medicinal quality. I'm getting more of an, with the briny factor, I'm getting a little more of a, I'm not sure if it's as thick as what you would call iodine, but it's definitely got like a TCP antiseptic note going on with the nose on this, for me at least. But I'm also getting some mint, like spearmint, really nice spearmint, wintergreen kind of flavor. Oh man, I don't get maritime seashells from this one like I do the Talisker 10. That might be because of age. 10 years and 3 to 4 is a huge difference when it comes to that. That might have something to do. I do get the nice effervescence aromatics that you would get from a Talisker. The intensity is there, at least, though. Just not as earthy or seashell-like that you would get. Now, pepper is a little different. Am I getting spice off the nose? Slightly. It's more in the white pepper type of region. But that spearmint wintergreen note is really nice with that peat. So that's kind of comparable. The not getting that seashell, I'm not getting a ton of pepper. White pepper maybe slightly. Let's go for a taste. I'm getting many more notes I'm saving for the review later, but I'm doing comparison here. The palate's more powerful than you would expect it to be when it comes to flavor. The nose is kind of is a little subtle, and it's not closed off, but it's just subtle, I think, because of the age. But the palate, a little more intense. Really, really nice. I do get a bit of the white pepper. I'm missing the black pepper from the Talisker that I would get. It's got a bit more of a maritime feel on the palate. I don't get it on the nose. The palate does have a slight seashell earthiness. It's more creamy, though. It's got like a nice creamy, balanced vanilla thing going on with that, too. Oh, man. But comparatively to a Talisker, yeah, the similarity here to me is the brininess is there. The white pepper is there. The seashell thing is much stronger on a Talisker 10 versus this one. This one's there, not on the nose, only on the palate. And the white pepper is in this one, nose and palate, but it doesn't have any black pepper at all whatsoever. So hopefully that'll give you an idea as far as comparison. And let me know what you think too, Andrew, as far as if you think it's, if I'm missing something, or if you think I'm nailing it, or what you're coming up with there. Daphne is the best newer distillery I've had, overpriced but very good. Yeah, same here, Stephen. I think so far the only one I think that will come close to maybe giving them a run for their money, the Elsa Bay. I think keep your eye out on. I think they will get better with time. They've put out a great inaugural and a really good second offering already. The Elsa Bay, I would probably take a chance on. Ardmachurin's decent. It's too young, I think, to really. When they get a 12-year out, I think we'll be in better shape. Same with. I'd love to see more from Eden Mill. Eden Mill like was great on independent bottlings. I'd love to get a distillery bottle of them and see what they have to show. King's Barn's pretty good too, but I don't know if I put them up with Daft Mill. That's a tough one. Yeah, the Elsa Bay is the only other one that I think that's really hit some things. But I've heard really good things about the slag that's coming from Aaron, and it says Aaron is really kicking ass with their new line. I think Lag might be the one to watch as far as possibly being up there with the new Daft Mill, but we'll have to see how they handle pricing / options, things like that. So far, Wolfburn I would throw in there with some of the newer distilleries. I've yet to try any of their stuff. What do you guys think of Wolfburn? They have some numbered bottles that I know do pretty well. They do have like a Langskep and a Moravian and Aurora and all this stuff as far as like NASs. I've heard, decent things about those, but I've heard that their numbered bottle series is where it's at. So has anyone had a oh, where was I going with this? I was distracted by Steven's salivating. Oh man, where was I going with it? Anyway, but the Wolfburn. Has anyone had a Wolfburn bottle that was memorable? I'm just curious. He loved the fact that they would charge less if you asked for packaging. Thought it was young with potential. Gotcha. I think the Scotch distillery in Ireland, Waterford, will be really interesting when they have older whiskey. I've heard good things about those guys recently too. I need to try one to see how it goes. Do you like the Distiller's Edition? Oh, I adore the Distiller's Edition of Talisker. That's one of my favorites. I mean, I like a lot of Talisker, man. I don't have them all here where you can see, but just a quick overview of Talisker for me. The 10. Great solid intro to Talisker. I would give a 10 to anybody just to see what they think first. If they like that, if they like peat smoke combination, I would go for the Storm, the Dark Storm, not just the regular Storm, but the Dark Storm, to get that smoky, more intensity going. I liked it. Some people aren't as much into it, but if you like a heavier smoke, then the Dark Storm is a good one for me. The regular Storm, it's okay. It's an NAS. It's okay. Same with the Port Re, which is like a travel retail. I think it's a great nose and palate, really, but the finish just wasn't there for me. So I would probably skip the Port Re again if I had the option. With that said, the other ones, like the 57 Degrees North, the what is that? The Niched Point. Those other ones are really good, man. I've had lots of really good Talisker over the years. The 18, of course, is glorious. I would have that every time. And then the Distiller's Edition, I think I got it for like $82. It was that's a little different because that's got that Amoroso sherry going on, which is not like Oloroso. It's not like PX. It's a bit different. It's kind of more rounded, I guess. It's got more of like a, I don't know, like a hazelnut thing. I can't remember what the biggest difference was, but man, all those were pretty good. I can't speak to some of their latest stuff. I know James saying that the latest ones are lacking oomph. I'm not sure if it's particular ones he's talking about, but that's like the overview I remember being, There we go. I'll only look for the cast strength offerings from 2000s and love the 8-year-old from 2018. Yeah, I would love to get my hands on some cast strength Talisker. Then I'd definitely be happy about that. I do not like low ABVs, so if it's 40 to 43, I probably would just skip it. Didn't care for the Wolf Brand I tried when it first came out, but I've heard it's improved since then. Something to keep in mind, yeah. Okay, love their entry level Northlands. Ex Laphroaig cast brother has their 58% length skip. Yeah, that's the one I've heard is really pretty damn good. I need to try. Want to have every and any bottle that's available here, which I've only seen 2. Wow. I see it on occasion, so I'll have to pick one up. Still need to open his length skip. Can't wait. High expectations. Your notes are great. One of the contrasts for me is that the Diageo chill filtering layer that I detect in all their releases. It smooths out what could be a great in Talisker. That's a good point. Now, that's the thing that, to me, Talisker misses the boat on, and I think it's because of the Diageo's old way of dealing with things. I think they're coming around. If I do remember, I can't remember exactly on that um, 20-year-old Cragganmore or the trying to think of some of their other stuff they've recently released. If they've done that, I thought they were trying to get away from the whole chill filtering coloring thing, but I'm not sure if they've seen the light quite yet or not. I hope they do. I mean, the Glendronach thing, it really is depressing to me that they're going backwards. If they're going to lower the ABV and start chill filtering all their whiskey, how the fuck does that make any sense to me? I just don't. This does not compute with me. So hopefully Diageo goes the opposite way. If Brown-Forman wants to go this crazy way and think that's going to help them, then whatever. But hopefully Diageo's thinking, well, you know what, guys, we need to go the other direction and start doing more of a natural presentation and a higher ABV and no coloring, no chill filtration, none of that crap, and see what we get. I think they would sell a hell of a lot more whiskey, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. The thing that sets Stuffmill apart is that they waited to release their whiskey until it was actually mature. Yeah, that is a huge difference. But man, the price point is. If Glendronach all of a sudden started charging $200 for their 12-year, you guys would have a fucking fit. You can't tell me you wouldn't. And if Laphroaig, was like, okay, we're going to stop releasing the 10 cast strength. We're going to go with a 12. We're going to make it at 46%, and we're going to make it for $200. You guys would have a fit. I know the craft is different and all that, but is the craft really worth $100 more than what it should be? That's where I'm having a really hard time with those guys, but I did buy a bottle of it, so I guess it is worth it. But man, I don't know if I'd ever buy another one. I mean, it's good, but at that price point for what I could get a 21-year whiskey for $250. I could get NOC 24 is not that much more, so keep that in mind. And that's a damn good whiskey for not the best 20-year whiskey, but it's one of the better ones. Damn sure for the price. So highly recommended and loved the gang skip. He sent me a sample and my brother bought a bottle. Wow, haven't had a sample from Daniel yet. Yeah, artificially coloring is really a pain. Don't get any wolf beer here in Hawaii. Okay. Well, keep your eyes out, man. You never know when something will pop up. I know they're in California, so maybe you can get one shipped from California. Akeshi. I'm not familiar with Akeshi. That's not a Scotch. That must be like a. Where is that from, Cohen? Just out of curiosity. Once again, Outlast all Muser. Oh, I'm just I'm just sipping and enjoying while I have you guys here. I appreciate it. I've had several Wolfburns. My favorite's Morven, which is the most peated. Did a blind comparison with the Torvig and prefer the Wolfburn, but it's $20 more expensive. Ooh, interesting. I gotta get my hands on one of those, man. I've got to get my hands on one of those. Be surprised if Diageo turns into a natural presentation. They chill filter everything, even when it's cast strength, from what I understand anyway. Isn't that sad though? I mean, don't you think? I mean, I know we don't have a lot of pull when it comes to the way distilleries do their thing, but you would think if enough people, and I'm talking worldwide, if enough people that had any pull, like that had, these thousands and thousands of followers, that if they were like, look guys, if you got, it's funny because it would save them money. You don't have to color the shit anymore. You don't have to do the chill filtration. That's two big steps right there. Have a decent ABV and throw an age statement on it if you can. That's all you gotta fucking do. It's not like rocket science, really. It's whiskey science, but it's not rocket science. So you would think that they would think, I guess there's so many idiot whiskey drinkers out there that would prefer their whiskey to be chill filtered and colored. That's the only thing I could think of the reason why they do this insanity. I just don't understand why people fall for that shit. I had to finish some work, had to ninja vanish. That's okay, man. I know how it goes. The Wolfburn Morven is medium peat. I take it, not heavily peat. I would think that's the case. I would think that it's probably. I can probably tell you. Give me 1 second to see if I can find it real fast, just out of curiosity. We're talking Wolfburn Morven. And we're looking for ppm on that. Morven ppm. Let's see if there's any information out there. Just out of curiosity. There might not be with these newer distilleries. Sometimes they're real close. But it's 10 ppm. That's pretty light. It's slightly peated. Interesting. 10 ppm is what I'm seeing across the board. So there you go. I would say 10 is actually underneath this one, and if it's underneath this one, it's very mild on the peat. Barely, but barely underneath. This is like what 16. I said 16. Yeah, 16 versus 10 is not a huge thing, but you can notice it. It's very noticeable, I'd say. Medium peat, but more than the Northland. Oh, okay. So it's probably if this is a 10, the Northland's probably like a 5. I would maybe consider. Make sure to check out our review of the Garrison Bourbon. There you go. For me, definitely, it's worth the price. It's just that good. If you look at the age to cost ratio, it seems off, but flavor, it's really a 250 dram, in my humble opinion. Okay. Yeah, I haven't sat down and done a proper review. We're going to do that show here, hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm not sure the timing on it, but I'm eager to see what he thinks of the Torvig and the Daft Mill 2007, just for giggles. So I'll try to talk him into doing it earlier to do a real thorough review, because it might change my mind after some time and go in. Oh my God, it's the ultimate short, quick video. Short video, then gut reviews. It's Canadian whiskey. 80 seconds. Wow. That would be, okay, if you ever want to, if I ever get my hands again on the Aventurg 3-year, it will be the shortest. It'll be like a 10-second review. I'll give it a 0.75 out of 5 just for them trying to make a whiskey. And that'll be it, because it's that fucking bad. You feel true and sad. Multinational corporations are like Diageo are just profit and are stunning legendary distillery. Yeah, they're stunting the growth of these great distilleries when they do this. Just insanity. It's just crazy. For example, you were talking about buying the Blair Battle 23. It's less expensive and way better. Not even close. Wow, that's saying a lot, man. That's saying a lot. It's kind of depressing when you put it that way, but yeah, I mean, that's the way it kind of rolls sometimes. I can't wait to take a really close look at that one. Let's just say I had a plan for the video and took it his way and didn't give him any heads up. Oh man, most burns are only 10 ppm. It seemed like Northlands have been more. Let me see what the Northlands is showing up, just out of curiosity. So the Morven is definitely a 10. The Northlands Wolf Burn. Trying to find it. This one's a little tougher. This is 5 to 7 ppm on the Northlands. So there you go. Yeah, 5 to 7 on the Northlands. So yeah, it's about half. I mean, I know it doesn't. And when you talk, you got to keep this in mind, guys. When you talk ppm, there is a huge difference between 2 and 5 and 10 and 30, 40, 100, 200 and up. There is a huge difference. Some people say you can't tell a difference, but I guarantee if I blinded myself, I could pick it out. I'm gonna have to get myself some Octomore bottles and some other ones to try to do that, because I think it's yeah, it grinds my gears. Profits over buyers is I mean, that's business. Unfortunately, it is. You do have to make money, but how much do you have to make is really I don't need to be Bill Gates to feel like I'm successful, is what I think the bottom line here is. If I had a decent distillery that had great craft, like if you took the Long Row and the Springbank and you just had a Hazelburn and had that distillery and what they can produce, that's pretty badass just in itself. So I would take that into account. Ice is why whiskey is chill filtered. Most people drink it over ice. Isn't that? I mean, okay, this is my question though. Yes, if you're talking like Naked Grouse, or if you're talking Johnny Black, Johnny Walker Black, or if you're talking Cutty Sark, or Teachers, Doers, Chivas Regal, yes, I understand that that's the case, and I agree with you. But we're not talking about that type of buyer. We're not talking about that type of. I mean, the same guy that's going to throw down, $50, $60 on a decent blended Scotch is not the same guy that's going to save up and get a bottle of $140, $50 whiskey. Like put whatever distillery you want into that equation. They're not going to want it colored. They're not going to want it chill filtered, no matter what the price is or anything about it, because they're getting it for a completely different reason than the guy that's buying the blended, the blended Scotch. Yeah, he's looking for a decent taste, but the guy that's sitting down with an ice in the Chivas Regal is just buying it to basically sip or pound, and that's it. He's not doing it with, he's probably not even nosing the damn thing, first off. Not even talking about finishing and adding water and all the things that a lot of us like to go through. And I know that we're in the minority, but we're not that crazy much in the minority, I would think. Are we? Are we that crazy? I wouldn't think so. I don't know. If you buy a Northlands, make sure it says Northlands. The first one I bought just said Wolf Burn, and I thought it was okay, only 3-year-old. One of the bottles were 4 to 5 years old. Okay, that's a big difference, definitely. I think it's funny how many people think $100 whiskeys aren't drank on the rocks. I mean, I could see why you would do it, maybe if you already know you like it with water. But why would you want to ruin? Sorry about the coughing. Why would you want to ruin a whiskey with, especially anything that's around that kind of money, with ice cubes? I mean, it's not what it's meant for. It's not meant to be with water. It's meant to be drank neat. I mean, most of the time, it seems like, I don't know. I mean, you would think that if they wanted you to have it tapered, they would have already given it to you like at 40%. I mean, I don't know. Thank God it's hard to find weak whiskey unless you're really staying with the 10 to 12-year-old stuff. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of it's drank over the rocks, man, but I would do that only with something that I know, after doing lots of tries and testing, that I only like it with water. That's the only reason I ever would drink it that way. That's a tough one, man. Yeah, chill filtration comes down to education. If producers educated that cloudy whiskey is perfect, then they would need to chill filter. And that's the thing. It's like, who in their right mind ever taught or told somebody that whiskey had to be some sort of like clear? I mean, it's chemistry. Anytime you add something to another liquid, usually based on temperature, it's going to cloud. I mean, it's going to have some sort of chemical reaction you're going to visually see. Who the fuck cares if it tastes great? I mean, that's the thing. But I don't know. I know I'm arguing to the choir here, but it's just painful. Isn't blended scotch like 70-75% of the market scales? It might be, man, but I think that's the saddest thing ever, because these people don't know what they're missing. If you only knew, if all you tasted was Monkey Shoulder, Naked Grouse, Teacher's Bells, Chivas Regal, Johnny Walker, and that's all you knew, and you never had a 12 to 10-year-old, any distillery. I mean, just think of it as a distillery. Pick one out of your ass. It doesn't matter who it is. It's going to be 1,000 times better usually than any of those experiences. I just don't know why people want to pigeonhole themselves into not getting the full experience. I guess I don't know. Look at craft beer. It used to be clear the IPAs were highly desirable. Then cloudy IPAs suddenly became all the rage. People got used to it. The same kind of whiskey. That's what I'm seeing, man. I mean, I hate. I've never tried a lot of IPAs. I don't like IPAs typically because they're so kind of like sour. I'm more of a stout slash porter slash ale kind of guy. I'm not into a lot of the IPAs or the what is it? What is the Yingling, like the? It's been so long since I've been into craft beer, but you know what I'm talking about. The reds, the between the Yinglings and the IPAs, just never really got into it. But yeah, Eric was talking about some of them being more sour than others. Maybe I'll take another gamble on it. But oh, what? Oh my God, that's painful to read. It's probably true, sadly, but man, these guys are wasting good whiskey. They're really wasting it. 18 to 25-year whiskey is being drunk and poured over ice. Oh my God. I, I, I think I think I might be having some sort of medical issue here, because my brain hurts because I can't fathom that. I mean, who in the right mind is going to spend to get an 18 to 25-year-old whiskey? You have to spend usually $300 to $400, minimum, and to put ice over it without even trying it neat is such blasphemy. It's sacrilegious. It's craziness. It's obscene. I could go on and on. There's no. I mean, yes, if you know you're gonna. I mean, but you got to do it neat too. You can't just drink that over ice all the time. That's crazy. Oh my God, it's painful. Yeah. It's so saddening. My dad, who knows whiskey, still likes his whiskey on the rocks. He doesn't like overnight. No, I mean, I'm not knocking people that don't like their whiskey in general over the rocks. Yes, like if I'm gonna have a Naked Grouse, I mean, I prefer it neat. But if I like, this Cairdeas, for example, if I liked this, if I rather enjoy it with water, yeah, I can understand anybody, putting a rock on it or whatever. But to drink an 18 to 25-year-old whiskey with ice, like by default, that's where I'm kind of like, what? Ah, man. I think chill filtration comes down to very expensive pours at the Scotch bar. Maybe someone might be upset seeing this $30. Glorious clear to mercury. But why would you put fucking ice with it anyway? I mean, that's what anybody in their right mind is going to spend $30 on a drink is going to drink it neat first. Then you're going to add a couple. I mean, whiskey bars should have eyedroppers with water glasses, not ice. I mean, the cold factor is enough to fuck with the whiskey more than just the water does. So you got to take that into account too. I mean, I'm not anti-ice all the time, but I'm anti-ice by default. That should not be the default. That's the bartender's fault to me. Like, the bartender should be in charge of presentation and teaching the client the best way that they're going to get the most out of what it's kind of like selling a car. The guy shouldn't have knowledge about the car enough to tell you all the options, how it works, the best way to enjoy it. And the same thing with the bartender. The bartender's job is to say, hey, what type of whiskey do you like? And you say, well, I like whiskey that's kind of salty maritime. Oh, okay. Well, you should think about maybe trying an islands whiskey. Okay, where should I begin? Well, do you like peat? Yeah, I love peat. Talisker. Talisker is a beautiful whiskey that you're going to enjoy. Now, let me tell you, you're going to want to try this neat. Give them a sample of the tin. Pour them a little, little 1.5 ounce, 2 ounce if you're feeling generous, and say, hey, nose it first neat. Don't add anything to it. Give them the whole spiel. Give them an eyedropper. Give them a little water in a glass. They're going to need some water anyway if they're going to be drinking whiskey all night. Say, hey, after you've enjoyed the nose and the palate and the finish first, then let's add a couple drops to it. Don't douse it. Don't put ice in it right away. I mean, teach the guy the best way to go through it. If he doesn't feel like going through all that, that's fine. But the people that are spending this crazy money on whiskey, especially 18 to 25-year-old stuff, I just cannot fathom why they would want to start with ice. It not only just destroys it with the water, it destroys it with the temperature. The temperature is enough to kill it. Anyway, it's like using Appleton 21 rum for rum and cokes. Oh, God. You're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. We're a small part of the market. Just have to gravitate towards the story of the Cairdeas. I guess, and this is why I think so far this year that Edgedour 21, dude, is the badassest, beautiful distillery bottle I have ever seen, ever tasted, ever smelled, ever partaked, with water, without water, upside down, all around, pants falling down. It's the best fucking whiskey this year. Edgedour 21, pick it up if you haven't already. If you've had it, let me know what you think of it. I'm just curious. Leave me a comment after the stream's over if we're long gone. But I definitely would like to know what you guys think of that Edgedour 21, because man, that's the one to get this year so far. Buddy of mine and his brother brought his mom a Pappy 23. She's blown away about how good it was in Coke. The old Stitzel of Pappy. Oh God. And I don't even like wheat whiskey. I can't even drink that stuff. It's definitely far out of my wheelhouse. But even to say putting it in Coke, man, for that kind of price, man, oh my goodness gracious. My personal preference always support the smaller distilleries who actually know our money. Edgedour is a good example of that. Man, I think Glenelg is doing a good job so far. Still with how they're doing things. Tobermory, Laphroaig, great distillery. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna definitely be taking my money elsewhere. That's for sure. Oh God, it just hurts. I mean, this is what kills me. I hate to get on my soapbox and go crazy with you guys, but that bottle is insane. I get the damn bottle. And I'm excited at first because I never had that old of a Macallan. They're damn expensive. I thought the bottle was probably worth around $270 at the highest point. I'm looking at it, and it's like $320 in Maryland. I'm like, that is freaking asinine. That's insane. That is beyond crazy. Already. So I finally pull the trigger and I get it, and I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to get the damn thing open. It's like fucking Fort Knox to get that damn bottle open. I had to take a damn pocket knife. Thank God Dad always taught me to have a pocket knife with me. I get that sucker out, and I'm like, trying to cut it out, and it's got all these crazy like plastic things glued to each other. It is a damn nightmare. Finally get it open and enjoy it. And it's a good sherried whiskey, but it's not like the bee's knees. 320, $40 is crazy. And to fathom that someone is going to spend that kind of money just to put it on fucking ice. Oh my God. I'm going to have an aneurysm. We were talking about Dustin having an aneurysm trying to have a scorching black battle. And I'm about to have an aneurysm about someone putting Macallan 18 on fucking ice. It's just great. I want to be you ever seen that commercial with Batumbo that comes? It's the classic Geico one. He's got the basketball and he's dribbling it down the around, and then he sees people that are this kid getting the cereal box, and he's like, bam, and he knocks it down. He's like, not in my house, no. And he goes around and he's hitting stuff out of people's hands, being like, no. I want to be that guy. If I see somebody with a fucking 15-year plus whiskey and they're gonna put ice in it, I'm gonna bash that shit and say, no, not around me. There's no fucking way. I'll probably get escorted out, but at least I'll make my feelings known. Go to $7,000 in LA, see majority of ice and expensive whiskey. It's painful, but I don't care anymore. I have tried it, and it created more conflicts than resolve. Isn't that crazy though, man? $7,000 in LA. I've never been to Los Angeles. I've been to San Francisco. I've been to San Diego. Both. I prefer San Diego, but San Francisco. I've never been to LA, so hopefully I'll get a chance to go there sometime. I've yet to enjoy whiskey with ice, even in the summers here in New Jersey, where it can reach 100 degrees, and also put bourbon for me. I tried only my bourbon the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof 519 and yuck, yeah. The only whiskey I could foresee myself ever putting an ice cube into is if I'm on a fucking yacht and I've got a Dalwhinnie 15 or something really light, like a Glenkiddich 12. It's 130 degrees outside. I'm next to the equator, next to Ecuador, and I'm hot as hell, and I'm desperate, and there's no drops of water, and that's all I get. I might put an ice cube in it. That's how strongly I feel about that situation. It's my fascination with Wolfburn, plus it's also close by to our family's clan history territory. Yeah, and that's the thing. See, that's the funny thing with me and Annandale. I'm looking forward to Annandale because Johnstons are in the they were fighting with the Maxwell family on the Lowland border of Scotland and England. And Annandale is where my people come from. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of that too, man. If you pay your money and get the choice, but for sure we all have the option of ice, just don't take it. Yeah, I mean, that's just crazy, man. Ice would probably improve it just so well. I'm not a fan from what I've tried, which is not much. Leche Tomori, Ejidara Balachin, yeah. Balakin, sorry. Balakin is very high on my list to pick up. Yeah, Balakin is great, man. The number 4 Oloroso series, it's not even got an age statement on it, but it's the number 4 Oloroso. I got a bottle of it back here. This one was pretty good, man. If you ever see this sucker, heavily peated Highland, it's this was one I found in DC. I just stopped by this Indian place. I can't remember the name of it. I'm like, hey, just, what do you recommend? I'm looking for something peated, sherry. What do you think? He's like, this is the one, man. And he nailed it. 46%. Wish it was a higher ABV, but straight out of the gate, 46%. This is a 700 milliliter bottle, so it's definitely over from UK, most likely direct. But even for NAS, man, this was really a great. It's a matured solely in Oloroso sherry butts, unchill filtered. Beautiful presentation. I doubt they colored this at all in natural color. I mean, there you go, right on the bottle. So this is good stuff, man. I definitely any Balakin that you can get your hands on, I highly recommend. I've never had a bad one. I've had a few. Sweetly cheap rum is the only thing I do for ice in the summer. Yeah. Act 18 is goodbye at $12. 210 to 230. Yeah, I mean, but who in the world's going to find it for that anymore, Dustin? I mean, I agree. It's it's like Dalmore, like the Dalmore 18. It, I could see myself maybe spending 150 ish, 160 max. But when I saw that shit on 220, I'm like, there's no fucking way. I mean, it's just crazy. It's nuts. Yeah, I'm still hanging out, man. Still chatting it up with my whiskey peeps here. Rum and ice, yeah. Rum and ice, yes, maybe. Mac and ice, baby, no. I got a buddy who drinks the Louis 13 for insane price, and she shoots it. Oh my god, what does this stuff run for, Dustin? I'm just curious. Let me fix my chair here. 1 second, sorry. I gotta look this up because I want to see local prices if I can. Louis the 13th, I think it is. Cognac, okay. Cognac price. I'm afraid to even pull the trigger on this, man. Whoa, no way. No way, dude. No way. No. $3,600? $3,599.99? Are you kidding me? Holy wow. That's crazy. I mean, shoot or drink that stuff. For that's just nuts, man. That is just crazy. Ice will never touch scotch that touches these lips. Yeah, they drop a chunk of ice and high proof shitty bourbon if I'm in hell. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You would only put ice in something that you know you enjoy a lot of water with, and it's extremely rare that I ever put more than 3 drops. And I'm talking like drops from a freaking. Wow, I just almost destroyed my case here. My own little little dropper. I mean, 3 drops from this is like the maximum that I would want water to. I mean, aren't people afraid of over diluting their product? Because I'm sure some of you guys have tasted whiskey where it could be 40, it could be 50, 60%, and an ice. If you think of ice cube's got a lot of fucking water in it, doesn't it? I mean, how much? I'm not a chemist or anything, but how much water sits if you melted an ice cube? It would be, I would think. I mean, not as big as the cube, of course, but it would be a nice pool of water. It would be probably equivalent to like 10 drops of water, I would think. There's just no way I would want to over dilute at even coming from 60 down, 50% down, 43% down. You don't want to over dilute your whiskey. You're just wasting it. If unless you like your whiskey at like 20% ABV, which I don't know anybody that likes to drink whiskey at 20 ABV. But if you are that type, that's the only reason I could think of why you would drink whiskey with crazy ice in it all the time. If I was on a fucking boat that prung on the ice, but I don't live on a boat. I hear you, man. Ice and sugary rum can be okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, rum and ice go together, but that's the only thing, man. If you mean IPH, the Holland Park ice, it's okay. Oh, you knocking the ice, man. Oh, we got a show coming up for the ice. I'm sure you're gonna come and bring your hate, Dustin, when we do that show. That'll be a fun one. In Asia, a well-dressed person carves a clear ice ball that just fits in a rocks glass and pours a 30 milliliter of the chill-filtered Glendronach 21. Oh, that's depressing. We just did we haven't done the Glendronach one, but Parliament with ice. No. Hysterical. At first I thought you meant the Glenfiddich 21 rum. Then I could maybe sort of give you like I couldn't even give you a pass for that, man. There's no way. But remember bar prices, man. 30, okay, I got to figure this out. So if the bottle of cognac, we're talking about the Louis the 13th cognac is 36,999. What would be what would the shot price be? I can't believe I'm looking this up for a 3,500 bottle. Just out of curiosity. There's got to be a way to figure this out. Hmm. Here we go. Okay. I got the Marquee Nightclub Day Club Marquee bottle service menu up with champagne and rosé. They got all sorts of stuff. Okay. $6,000. Oh, that's the bottle. Damn it. I want a shot, for God's sakes. Six. That's double the price. $6,000, man. 6,000. That's double. More. Well, yeah. You might as well double it. That's just insane. I need to buy a 25. It's just crazy. I mean, the 25 price is enough to make you want to just fucking lose your hair, and then find I just I'd love to taste it, but I'm never gonna be able to buy a bottle of that unless I won the lottery. There's just no way. Cheap blended Scotch works better with ice. It helps to mask out the flavors, but that makes some people assume all whiskey. I mean, that's the thing. Like yes, I'll admit I have enjoyed a bottle of Bell's. Bell's has got some really good blended whiskey. They use who's in the Bell's? I used to know the distilleries that they use off the top of my head, and I forgot already. But it's actually good with a cube of ice. That because it does have like a grainy delivery, but I still enjoy it. But with a cube of ice, that I understand the Bell's, but doing the doing some of these other ones, man, it's just crazy. I'm sorry. Yeah, man. It's just no, I mean, I know it's all water, but how much water are you getting from one cube? I think it's a pretty good amount. I think you're getting like 10 drops of water from it. I just want 3 drops. If it get a whole cube of ice, man, that's like just decimating your dram with water. Period. I just don't understand why anyone would want that on any type of whiskey other than like a Bell's or Teacher's, you know, bottle of crap. I mean, not crap, but just basic bottle. Like, why would you want to have that much water, man? I use a half teaspoon measure. Maybe I should get more of a precise dropper. I would, man. I used to use spoons and like even like little teaspoons. But I tell you what, like an actual either eyedropper or if you don't want to deal with one of the small eyedroppers, get one of these like it doesn't have to be like ornate, like anything. I got this. Like my mom sent me this one just for fun. It's like one of those whiskey, water droppers that they sell. Angel Share sells these, but any type of actual small dropper would work. Any type of eyedropper really, but you can get as fancy as you want to go. I can only use ice in the basic ones with Glenmorangie G10, Glenfiddich, yeah, 12. I mean that I understand, but anything else, yeah, I don't go Ralphie crazy with water. I never ice. That's just nuts, man. We drink with the cube still solid. Oh, okay, you like that Highland Park. It's a good upper 80s review coming on our channel. Gotcha. Yeah, we'll be taking a look at that one too, man. With the fire, I was lucky enough to find my own bottle of fire and ice, and I didn't buy it at the $300 level when it was released. It was more like around the 200 level. That's why I waited to see if I could get a better deal because I had tastes of them before prior to getting the bottles. I knew what to expect, and but we'll get into that later. I'll check out your all's review at the same time. Top shelf whiskeys. Check them out if you haven't already. Subscribe here if you haven't, please. Same with Dustin's group. I was kidding, making fun of the Mac drinkers tonight. I would never use ice and only dump it on anything. Yeah, that's funny. The voice of reason. Yeah. There has to be somebody that's the designated driver in this group, man, because we're gonna be all end up off the cliff as if not. Here in Hawaii during the summer, man, it's 95 degrees and 98% humidity. Can you imagine that? 98% humidity. Blah. Yeah, the black. I can see that happening, man. But oh, if this is gonna keep drinking, I'll probably. Now, yeah, I gotta shut it off, man. I do have to work tomorrow. I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me, having some whiskey anytime. It's always fun, and hope to see you guys again very, very soon. Check out the Scorch review if you haven't. It's definitely worth a watch. Um, we talk about all sorts of different whiskeys in that review. I know they're not very focused as far as, sometimes I wish I was able to give like just a flat 10-minute, this is what it is and be done. But I enjoy talking about all sorts of other things, other aspects, connecting the dots. Sometimes whiskeys remind me of other ones and you get off on tangents. You know how it goes. So, but if you don't mind a more of a whiskey discussion with the Scorch, I definitely recommend that review. So really appreciate you guys, coming around and giving me your side of the story. And yeah, whatever makes you happy on the ice thing. I definitely agree on the, Johnny Walker stuff and the cheers, the bells, all that, stuff. But yeah, tonight was fun and we'll have to do it again soon, man. Sláinte, guys. I really appreciate it. And check out we'll be doing some Japanese next week. So definitely come by for a little Japanese fun if you don't mind. And see you guys soon next Tasty Tuesday.